Hey everybody, ReefGrrl here, and welcome to ReefGrrl Live. I'm so glad you could make it. The whole idea here is to have some fun, chat, ask a few questions, maybe show us what you're doing, and get to know each other a little bit better. So sit back, relax, grab a drink. The stream is about to begin. Hi everybody, happy Easter. I hope you're having a good Easter so far. Yesterday it was nice and sunny here, but really cold. So welcome to everyone who's in the chat already. I already also have two guests in the waiting room, one of which is SPS Reefer from last week, the global stream. So Ryan, I guess, enjoyed it a lot, and he's back, even though for him in the UK it's like late, very late, after midnight. And we also have Travis Fish of Hex waiting. So I'm going to say hi to everybody who's here so far, and then bring those guys in and we can get started. So first off tonight is Filipino Reefer. Hey Benny, I hope you're doing well. And we also have Carlos 23. Hey, my favorite Carlos. Johnny Martinez is here. Johnny, I saw your comment. Well, happy birthday to you. Everybody say happy birthday to Johnny. You made it through another year. I hope you're doing well and feeling better these days, and things are going well with your treatments. Awesome. Straight Reefer is here. Camaro Kid. Hey, Camaro Kid. Angeli Sotamba. Hi, so happy to see you again. You too. Thanks for coming by. Salty Reef is here. Nat King Reef. Reef the Sea Forever. And DC Reefer. Holy smokes. A whole bunch of you just jumped right in. That's awesome. I don't really have much to report this week in the way of tank updates. Still don't know any more than I did last week, but that's okay. But I have moved a lot of the reef over, and I do have a short video about that I can show you later on when things settle down a bit. And also I have a mysterious white substance in the bottom of my one stock tank, which I think I know what it is, but I'm not absolutely sure. And I did get some video of it before we siphoned most of it out. I'm leaving a little bit to see if it spreads, but it's very, very weird and very, very smelly. So anyway, I don't know why I said that, but it's true. Okay, so let's bring in Ryan and Travis. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
Got my cup of tea ready. It's like the middle of the night here.
Me too. I've got my rooibos tea in my special Yeti. Yep. And let's bring Travis in as well. Hey, Travis.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear us okay?
Yep, sounds good.
Awesome. Oh, we got a bunch more people. Skinner JW, hello. Michael Lee, super. Okay. Yeah, Michael Lee, we started at the 8 o'clock times so that I wasn't staying up until 4 in the morning after watching a replay and all that kind of stuff. So Telegram very kindly moved his stream on Saturday night to 6:30. I think he does it Sunday now, though, because it just worked out better for him so that we wouldn't be overlapping, because we know we have overlapping viewers. So, oh, hey, Randall's Reef. Well, now, so Ryan, you showed us a lot of your tank last week in photographs, and I guess by now the lights are off, right?
They're off now. They went off a long time ago.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's like 1 o'clock in the morning here in the UK.
Yep.
So
yep.
I'm normally fast asleep by now, but I'm off work now till Wednesday, so I thought I'd jump on.
Yep.
So
nice.
It doesn't really matter what time I go to sleep.
And Travis, how about you? Are you having any sort of family stuff going on this weekend?
No, it's just normal. Well, I guess, yeah, normal family stuff, but just kind of catching up on some orders and getting some work done. So try to take advantage of the time. Yeah, work all the time.
I had a business at one time. I know exactly what that's like. Other people take holidays, but for when you have a business, especially if you're the only one running it, you see that as an opportunity that people are busy doing other things, so you can get some extra work done.
Yeah, get caught up on some stuff. Yep.
No kidding.
That's exactly what's going on.
Yeah. Calypso's Reefs is here. Hey, Hector. Hope you're doing well. So, Travis, I saw you have about an hour for us tonight. So I just
Yep.
thought I'd throw that out there if anybody has any questions about what Travis is up to. And if you've seen any of his recent videos, I saw the one you put out today about making room for Bertha. Man,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
man.
Yeah, she's done a lot of damage to that 300 over the last few months. Essentially, what I'd say 80% of the coral's gone. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at my live stream video that I usually keep up, the background video. That
Yep.
was in January of last year, and then it
Mm.
grew out to be bigger than that. And then I never really got a updated video, but then she just started ripping colonies out ever since then. So
Wow.
it's pretty much naked now, but it's okay.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it evolves, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Environmental things happen all the time, I guess. So for anybody that doesn't know, Bertha's of Lamingi Tang, who is really growing. And have you ever actually seen her make contact with any of these things?
Oh yeah, I see her run into stuff. Or yeah, run, running with all those feet of hers, swimming into colonies all the time. She was actually one of the main reasons why that big red Monty cap that was spiraling there.
Yep.
I saw her swim into that and then tilt it, and I was like, "Yep, time to pull out that," because it just leaned up against the back glass. I was like, "All right, well that entire thing's coming out."
Wow.
But yes, I've seen her destroy stuff, and then what she did the other night with knocking over that 14-inch colony, a 14 by 10-inch, and then that landing on top of another coral, and then causing a chemical reaction to piss the
Uh-huh.
skimmer off, and then the skimmer overflowing and flooding the
Oh,
basement. Oh man,
oh man.
it was a mess, but it's okay. Stuff like that happens.
Yeah. Well, do you think she's making space for herself or is she just
Oh yeah,
playing?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
she's definitely making space because right now all she can do is just swim against the glass, and then
Wow.
kind of fit. I took out that big Lobo, so now
Yep,
she
I
can get
saw
through
that.
there. And then yeah, she's just making room, and that's literally what she's doing. So
Hmm.
yeah, it
I
is what it is at
guess
this point.
I guess she does what she can, right?
Yeah, she's going to a new home next year.
Yeah. Do you have something lined up or you put out some
Well, I was looking at
feelers?
the Baltimore Aquarium, but I'm kind of wanting to send her to the middle school, or is it the high school? I don't know. It's one of the schools in where we do the frag swap in Williamsport.
Oh
They
yeah.
have a couple other Flamingi tanks in there, and it's a soft coral tank. It's a really big system, so
Oh, really?
it'd be nice to kind of just send her there. So I'll reach out to the guy and see if he wants her. I'm sure he won't turn down a free fish.
Yeah, yeah, especially one like that. And
Yeah.
are flamingos okay with a whole bunch of them together?
Yeah. I mean, out of all the tangs in the tank, she's the nicest. But then again, she's the biggest. She has nothing to be scared of, I guess. But I've never seen a flamingo tang. They have the same facial structure as a hippo tang. I mean, how often do you see a hippo tang, attack another fish? I've never seen it.
True.
I've never seen it. I think it's
Yeah.
that just that facial structure, which I don't know. Every fish that I've seen that's like that isn't aggressive. But then when you get into I know there's a scientific term for it, but for the yellow tanks, the powder blues, the purples, they all have that same facial structure, and they're all super aggressive. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, she's really nice, but she's just a bulldozer. That's it.
Coral or fish? Coral or fish? At this point,
Yeah,
right?
at this point, right? Yeah.
I wanted to mention to you about your mushroom keeper. You had a picture on Instagram of what, a 5-inch one?
Yeah,
A
the
really large
mushroom
one?
cage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one thing that's occurred to me looking at all of the 3D printed designs I'm seeing lately for mushroom boxes is most of them are too shallow. I have
Mhm,
a couple, and you need space to put both a piece of something, a
mhm.
frag disc or a piece of rubble, and the mushroom in without the lid squishing down on it. And that one looks like it's a good size.
Yeah,
It
it's
looks
about
nice and deep.
4 or 5 inches deep. Now I offer the 1 inch version, which is for a frag plug. Of course, you can I have a 1 inch cage which holds a 3/4 inch frag plug. It
Yep.
goes right through the bottom, and then it has the top, and then I have the 1.5 inch, which holds a 1 inch frag plug. And then I have a 3 inch, which has the same depth as the 5 inch does,
Right.
relative to the size of it. But yeah, I mean, they work out pretty good. The 5 inch is actually really popular. I didn't think it would be given how big it is, but
Yep. Yep.
people really like it.
I don't know. I have a Yuma that can spread out to 5 or 6 inches once it gets going, and it regularly walks right off its rock.
Hmm.
and it's up in the shallow 50 part of my sump right now. I don't even know where it is because it left its rock and it's probably stuck to the wall somewhere.
Yeah.
But they get pretty big, and I've been frustrated in the past. I've bought some mushroom cages, and they're just too shallow. The grid on the top also has to be small enough that the thing can't slip out. If you have
Mhm.
holes in the sides, it's good for ventilation, but the shrooms can get so small and slippery, they just slide right out.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you have enough flow and light that gets through it as well. I mean, I've had a few different tests
Yeah.
with it, and I haven't had any complaints. I don't know,
Yep.
sold hundreds of them.
Cool.
So yeah,
No, that's
hopefully.
good. Yeah, that's the first one I've seen that actually I noticed how deep it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Matt Greer, hello. He says, "What's up, Travis?"
What's up, man?
And Eric N is saying, if you run an Apex, so here we go, the float switch, why not use a float switch to prevent the skimmer from overflowing?
If you run an Apex with a flow switch. Okay, well, I have the Avast Marine 5-gallon collection bin, which has a sensor built into it that senses the amount of skimmate in that barrel. Once it gets to the sensor, it actually triggers and shuts off the Apex. The issue is that I disconnected it back there while I was working, didn't
Mm.
reconnect it, and that was the problem. If that was connected, it would have tripped a skimmer and turned it off. It would have never been a problem. So it's just one of those things. I was back there moving stuff around and never put it back
Yeah,
together. And it's sure enough, a couple days later, it's a problem.
that's exactly what was in my mind. One of those things that always seems to
Yep.
happen. Oh, yeah. Yep. Hey, Sharbuckles Reef, Skinner JW. Oh, here's a good question. The Herm 14, hello. Hey, Travis, what do you consider a true refugium? I'm hearing some controversy on this topic. Oh, boy.
Oh, well, for me, I guess we can only go off of what I personally use and what I think. A true refugium, I would say, is it's going to be a tank or something relatively, decent size. You're not going to want to do something really, really small. Say you have a 55-gallon tank, that's pretty common size, right? You're not going to
Hmm.
want a 5-gallon refugium. That's not going to, that's not going to do anything, right?
Yeah.
So the goal would be to use up as much space in the sump as possible, or even use an external or a separate tank to be a refugium. And then what I consider to be true would be some kind of rubble at the bottom, or sand or some sort to add for beneficial bacteria, and then Chaeto. That's, or
Hmm.
however a million ways people pronounce that, but
Yeah.
Chaeto or whatever. But that's what I consider to be true. I mean, you can do all the decorated macroalgae, you can add seagrass and all, you can do all this stuff. But if you're looking to get the most bang for your buck, make it as big as possible, and use Chaeto, because it uses, well, in the States, you can't really use Caulerpa, at least not in coastal states.
Mm-hmm.
So that out of all the macroalgae, Caulerpa seems to be the one that uses and sucks up the most nutrients. But if you had a second best, Chaeto would be,
Mm-hmm.
that choice. But so that's what I consider to be a true refugium. But
I can't imagine there would be, I don't know what the controversy would be, whether it's different substrates, or whether you need a deep sand bed, or
well, I've
whether
tried
it
them
should be
all.
lit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried the
Yeah.
deep sand bed, and it's fine if you can actually have a deep sand bed. But if you think about it, the whole point of a deep sand bed is to break down, in
Mm-hmm.
that bacteria, to break down to
Yep.
denitrifying, and then let that gas bubble out. That's the whole point of it. Realistically, our refugiums, unless it's a separate tank, it's just going to be a portion of our sump, right?
Yeah.
So, are you really going to get the benefit of a deep sand bed when you're only taking up maybe half of a sump, which is, the sump is probably already half, if not less, of the total water volume of your display tank?
Yeah.
So,
And the thing is, with a deep sand bed, if it's going to actually truly be beneficial, you need that anaerobic area
which is
where it gets no
5 or 6
oxygen.
inches. Yeah.
And
And that's
and
deep. That's definitely deep. You can't go less than really 3 inches on that.
yeah, well, I looked into it with when I set up the Miracle Mud, because I wondered how deep it would have to be to create that. I only had a small area, and I thought, well, if I could put it in a really deep container, maybe I could get some benefit out of it. And it's something like below 2.5 inches, and it can't have flow. It can't be disturbed.
Mhm.
And the oxygen content has to be like, I think it's below 5% or something like that. I don't remember specifically, but there's a lot of things it needs to make that bacteria propagate and be useful. So then when you look at the amount of cubic area, it's like this much. That's all you can really have available to you.
And realistically, does that actually benefit the entire system? I mean, you got to think about it. Something that small, is it
Yep,
really going to process that much waste? I mean,
exactly.
what could a water change do? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I personally like to run a refugium without any substrate if I don't have mechanical filtration. So if you're not running filter socks or a pad or whatever, I don't like to use a refugium with any kind of substrate, because that usually collects
Hmm.
whatever bypasses what would usually get caught in a filter sock, and then you
Hmm.
start running into nutrient issues and sink and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
system dependent, layout dependent.
Oh, I've run into that. I remember CJ's Aquariums. He did a video about getting detritus out of the sump, and when I saw that, I went, "Okay, that explains a lot." And I checked mine, and sure enough, it was disgusting.
Loaded.
And I mean, it's a learning curve, right? You don't think of these things. It was the first tank I ever had with a sump, and so I just went in and cleaned it right out. And luckily, I didn't cause any kind of a cycle. So. Who else we got here? Sharbuckles, I said hi. Hey, Terrence Little Ocean, nice to see you. Matt Greer, I said hi to you. There's a question about white spot. Angelisa Tamba, how can you get the white spot out of the fish? It's in the 220 gallons, so hard to catch. Please help me. I bet this is a question you get a lot.
Oh, this question for me, or are we asking somebody else?
Well, anyone in the chat, or if you
Yeah,
have
I
any
mean,
advice.
I know we got SPS Reefer here. I know I don't want to keep,
Yeah.
I don't want to fall asleep on me
Oh
because I'm
no,
talking over.
you carry on. It's great to listen to.
All right, cool. So when it comes to having fish in a tank that's like 220 and you have ick, it's either ick or velvet, right? So you have a couple choices. You can take the fish out and put it in quarantine, and then let the tank go fallow for 10 to 12 weeks. Try to go a little bit longer, depending on if it's velvet or not. But and then during that time, you'll obviously quarantine the fish. The ick parasite will come out via copper or hyposalinity, and you're gonna with no fish or livestock in the tank, the parasite will die off because it doesn't have a host. So yeah, that's the easy way, or the say it easy way. Now the hard part is getting a fish out of a tank.
Mhm.
That's the difficult part. Some people, and this is okay. I understand why people do this, but if you have a whole bunch of fish and you have a very stocked, beautiful SPS tank, the last thing we want to do is go in there and pull out the tank and rip the tank apart to get fish out. Some people, and if it was me, and I'm okay with admitting this, if I had the 1000 set up and somehow I got ick in there, right, just somehow, and I had 50 fish in there and it was full of SPS, something, I would leave it alone. Because I'm not going to tear out $500,000 worth of coral to get some ick parasite out and then go fallow. I just say the strongest will survive in that case. Now, the best way to avoid that, of course, is quarantining in the first place. That's the best thing to do. Now, so for that person, if I guess a message is coming in, hopefully you guys didn't hear that, but if your tank doesn't have a lot of coral, it's easy to get the rock out and you can get the fish out. Do it. That will save you from dealing with fish death in the future. Go fallow, quarantine the fish, go about it. If your tank is full of SPS, you have it's your choice at that point. But that's pretty much it.
Well, I was once horrified to see a spot or two on the clownfish that I had. And then I noticed another spot on another fish, and this came out of the blue. And
my dog's barking.
He's the business. And
go see what he's barking about. 1 second.
Yeah. And so what I decided to do was fluff up the sand several times a day to feed the fish really, really well, to change out my filter floss frequently, and do my best just to wait it out, because I felt like at the stage when the parasite emerges from the fish and falls to the sand, if I could keep fluffing up the sand and keep that stuff up in the water column and somehow get most of it out of the tank through the filter floss, at least it was doing something, because that was at a stage when the tank was a couple years old and it was full of coral, and there was no way I was getting those fish out. I had 13 fish in there, and it was the clownfish and I think the royal grandma that I saw the spots on. So, quite honestly, I started adding Celcon to their food every night at that time, 4 or 5 drops. I fluffed the sand regularly. The Euphyllia loved the turbid water, the stuff that was floating around in there. And the spots went away after about 2 weeks, and I never saw it again. So I just basically tried to affect the environment for the free swimming stage of the parasite so that it couldn't really settle in the sand. And if it did, maybe it wouldn't be in enough numbers to be a threat. So was it a fluke? I have no idea. It's never happened since, and I would certainly do that again just to sort of stay ahead of it if the option was not there to get the fish out. They're talking about carpenter wrasses in the chat over here.
I am back. Sorry about that. He was barking up the wind. That's what he does.
He's a busy guy. Is he a year old yet, Travis?
He was born in June, so.
Oh boy, he's a
close.
big boy for the age.
Yeah, he's gonna stop. He's gonna stop growing at I think 3. I think at 2 they stop getting tall, and then they just get wider for a year.
Yeah,
he's a bulldozer already. He's a Bertha 2 or whatever.
Salty Dad has got a question. Hey, Salty Dad. A couple of my acros are starting to get white tips. Elk is stable at 7.7 to 8. Any suggestions? Maybe they're growth tips.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Yeah, if it's just the tips that are white and it's the majority of the colony, then yeah, it's growth. It's going to be growth. Are just one colony? Is there a bunch of colonies on a specific rock structure? And probably need a little bit more information. Sounds like growth. I mean, usually if there's paleness involved, if there's too much light or swings in alkalinity, you'll get paleness or STN. But yeah, it just sounds like growth.
Yeah, I guess time will tell if that's what you see, and if it's consuming alkalinity. If you are dosing and having to supply it with alk, then it's going somewhere. Alice Holbert, a total teardown on 180-gallon to buckets to save the last 8 fish to quarantine. They made it, but when you start getting a wipeout, there's no option. Wow. So I guess, Angeli, it depends how many other fish you have in there, how high the stakes are for the rest of the population you've got. Yeah, not fun. Glad because Terrence, blah, blah, blah. Reef the Sea says, yes, growth tips. Filipino says, definitely growth. Cut me a leaf. Peace. Autocorrect. A great diet for your fish with added vitamins like Celcon. Help boost the immune to fight it off. Hopefully build immunity. UV helps stop the parasite from multiplying. There's the other aspect of it, is UV. I ran a UV sterilizer on that tank and all the time. And I'm sure whatever's in the water column gets an opportunity to go through there. It can't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to get everything, but it definitely does help.
Yeah.
Kills the parasite, doesn't allow it to produce. But yeah. I mean, you got to think that, I mean, the amount of spores that come off of once it settles in. I mean, that's the only time it's susceptible is during that swimming phase. So
yeah. Well, I guess also depends how many white spots there are, how long it's been going on, whether it's been through a couple of cycles of this that you might not have noticed. Yeah, so many factors. UV. Yes, indeed. So Travis, I see you also have a make room for Bertha sale on your website.
Yeah. I cut up. Well, that live stream today, I cut up probably 1/3 of that colony, and it filled up. I mean, that tub is 3 foot wide by 8 foot. It's already pretty much getting full. So yeah, I just need to make room. Yeah, just got to make room.
Hey, TF in the house. Hey, everybody. Yeah, cool. So I guess, Travis, you're going to be wanting to get out and do some drone flying now that spring is here.
Yeah. They're actually starting to build out in that field. They're wiping out the entire field to put up some crazy complex or something. So I'm kind of bummed, but I mean, that was one of the reasons why I moved here, was to have that view and to be out there and stuff. But I'm going to be building my own little lot, so I'll have my own woods and stuff. It just sucks to see all the digger trucks come. My kids call them digger trucks, but coming in and just wiping out trees. And
Mhm.
I mean, out back, there's tons of turkeys and deer, and I mean, there's some massive deer out there. Of course, they're massive because you can't hunt there, but yeah, I love flying out there. I just got to be careful when they start coming through, and they're all weird about that stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. Well, in our town the town we just left, there was a golf course, and it's been there for 100 years. And of course, golf courses are always beautiful and rolling property, and the developers love them. So they years ago applied to build a subdivision there. They got a preliminary approval, but it got stalled because of overdevelopment. So they went ahead anyway and tore all the trees down. They just destroyed the landscape, even
just
though
because,
they don't have the final plans ready yet, or they probably won't even start building for 10 years. They went in and destroyed it.
wow, that's pretty
It's
sad.
it's just it really makes you shake your head because the wildlife that was there, like you were saying, deer and all kinds of birds, and there are creeks that run through there,
Mhm.
and
Just
you know,
gone.
it's too bad. It's the world we live in. I guess we could get on to how awful it is what's happening to the oceans too, but that's a kind of a downer. Sorry about that.
It's like
Anyway.
avoid it. It's not happening if you don't pay
Yeah,
attention to it, right? It's not
yeah,
happening.
yeah, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
I know I also wanted to ask you about your hydroponic setup that you're creating.
Hmm.
I knew a fish store that had tilapia, and they used the tilapia, like the water from the tank,
Hmm.
to feed their hydroponic system, and they grew like lettuce and all kinds of stuff like that, like the more compact plants
Hmm.
under grow lights, and then they would sell it, and then when the tilapia matured, they would sell the tilapia.
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm not going to use fish. I'm doing self-contained with my own nutrient stuff, but yeah, I mean, hydroponics is great because it's super cheap to set up. You just buy cheap bins, and of course, if you already have the pH stuff, the testing from saltwater side, and
Sure,
TDS
yeah.
meters and all that stuff, it's super easy. And
Hmm.
of course, I already had the lighting and everything. It's the same lighting you would put over a Refugium, so I just had to buy the buckets really. And yeah, I'm trying three different setups this year, and just growing a ton of greens. Trying to,
Hmm. Yeah.
it's stuff. I mean, of course, you can buy that stuff at the store. You do save money over time, but I don't know, it's just something about growing it myself, and I tend to do pretty well growing
Hmm.
wise. I'm going to try to do some. I do pickling every year and sauces and all sorts of stuff. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it turns out.
So you're going to use the hydroponic system mainly for greens, like would be spinach, lettuce, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So
Or
downstairs, I'll have 16 plants. There'll be spinach, Swiss chard. I'll have green
right.
beans, bok choy. There's a couple other ones down there, but so there'll
Mm,
be like lettuce and stuff down there. And then in the kitchen, I'll have a similar setup. And then outside, I'm going to try it outside. It's a little difficult to have it outside because when it rains, it changes the
mm,
nutrient content of the water. So you just got to
yeah.
keep an eye on it. But actually going to be trying to grow pickling cucumbers in a 5-gallon bucket of hydroponic this year. So
Oh, nice.
we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, yeah, I'm interested in that. God, you're just doing everything. That's cool. It's one of those things. I know of a lot of people who keep gardens and fish tanks. And I guess
Mhm.
it's kind of the same philosophy.
Yeah, I have the freshwater planted tank. I've
Hmm.
always done well with, I guess I have a green thumb to a certain extent when it comes to plants and coral too. Like I said, sometimes depending on who's destroying my tank at the current moment. But yeah. But yeah, I really enjoy growing my own stuff, and like I said before, I really like hunting. So if I can go out and hunt the animal, and then come home and pick the greens and all that stuff, and then
Hmm.
bring it all together and make a really good meal, it's a lot of work, and it does save money to a certain extent. I know with deer, if you buy it in the store, venison, if you buy it in the store, it's like $30 a pound. So
Hmm.
I get like 60 or 70 pounds, last year. But I guess the point is being able to do it yourself. It's just
Yeah.
there's something rewarding about that.
Yeah. Well, and plus it's probably as close to organic as you're able to get, depending on what sort of things you use for your nutrients and how you handle that. I mean, you're not going to
Mhm.
use pesticides.
Yeah, especially
Um,
inside, you're not gonna have any of that stuff, yeah, so
no, not with
it's
reef tanks.
No. So yeah, it's gonna be 100% organic. I mean,
Yep.
even with the nutrients and stuff too, it's all
Mhm.
organic stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. Plus,
Mhm.
once you get done growing it, all you do is you just start seedlings for the next batch a couple
Right.
weeks out, and then when
Mm.
you're about to harvest one, you just replace it with a new one, and it just keeps
Yeah.
cycling through.
Yep. There really is no dependency on the weather for certain things.
Mhm.
Yeah, for
Consistent
sure.
time, weather, temperature, humidity. Yep.
Yep. I've got a question in the chat here. Sheem Ka. Hello, Sheem Ka. Reef Girl. I got my Orfec blue LED blue 4-foot now. I have to figure out how I can mount them alongside of the Radeon G5 Pro. Um, Orfec has a mounting a kit that is 2 mounting arms. If you go onto their website, if it's up, I don't know if it's up right now, but look on BRS website. There are 2 metal bars that are designed to fasten multiple bar lights together with screws through fittings on the bars. And they sent me some with my Atlantics because I also have the bar lights, but I didn't end up needing the kit that they sent me. They're quite heavy, like steel, I'm assuming, painted black. And if you go on the BRS website, I'm pretty sure they have them there to give you an idea what that looks like. If you can't find that, there are hydroponic brackets that you can get where they're kind of they're intended for T5 lights to snap into brackets, like into little clips along the bracket. And the one that I had, you could put 8 lights across. And that's what we actually used when I first got the Orfex. But we installed the brackets that the lights come with onto those snaps. I've done a video about it. If you wanted to go look for it, it is the video. I think ReefGrrl sees the light when I switched from T5s, but that shows how we mounted them and the type of bracket that we used. Other than that, you might have to do some research into the availability of the various types of things from, I think it's ATI has a hybrid fixture for Radeons and LEDs. I don't know, have you guys run into this with combining, making the hybrid setups? I forget what you have hydras,
I
don't
have.
you, Ryan?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, yeah.
I use
I've
the
never,
aquatic life.
I've
Go ahead.
yeah, I've never thought about doing actually supplementing them with like because my hide just seems to do a good job as they are, so I don't
Yeah.
want to start messing around with just putting more lights on,
Mm-hmm.
especially not how the tank's going now. I mean, I was
Mm-hmm.
looking at it this morning and it was just awesome. You know, the
Oh,
colours
that's
they had
cool.
froze, the fluffiness of the millies as well. I mean, I've never seen them as fluffy, if I'm being honest. So everything
Yeah.
just looks amazing at the moment.
Enjoy every second of that
Yeah, exactly.
so you
Yeah,
can remember it later.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I'm going to the store tomorrow to pick up a couple of more millies, so I've got a couple of spots where I can put them. So yeah,
Nice. Nice.
so
How about you, Travis? You've got hybrids, don't you?
Yeah, over the 300, I use the 4-foot aquatic life fixture with 4 T5 bulbs, and I use I think what is it? Yeah, there's 4 XR15s in between. So
Mm-hmm.
there's like 8 total of 8 XR15s and 8 T5 bulbs. But the
Mm-hmm.
aquatic life fixture is pretty good. I know that they started making a new one that's dimmable and all sorts of stuff, but I haven't looked at it yet.
Mm. Yeah. There's so many changes in lighting these days.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
I
blows me
can't even
away.
keep up. Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean, and well, that's the topic of a whole entire hour is just talking about lighting and is it worth the money and blah blah blah.
yeah.
Angeli Satam is also asking about she has a lot of soft corals. What's the easiest SPS to start? They look
Uh,
great.
Go on, Travis. You go first.
No, go ahead, man. No, you go ahead.
Montipora hirsuta looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Digitata, bird's nest, stylos as well. You can get different colours in stylos.
Mhm.
Passilliflora, is that how you pronounce it? Some
Yep.
nice Passillifloras out there. So yeah, I would just go with them and just see how you go along. I wouldn't go mad. I'd just get a frag of one, put it in, just see how you do. That's how I started with SPS.
Yeah.
I started really easily. And once I knew I could grow them, I then put a little tiny frag of Millia or an Acro. And once they started to grow, I thought, right, I'll start putting like little mini colonies in there. And that's how I learned. I mean, it wasn't easy when I first started keeping SPS. You know, I struggled. I actually struggled when I first started. So I went away, did a bit of research, understood what they needed. And from that point on, you know, I've learned a lot to where I am now. I mean, it's not been plain sailing with that tank.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of issues with it. So yeah, just put a couple of frags in and just see how we go. Don't rush into it. You know, there's no point.
Yep.
But a few of them that I've just named are great. I mean, and they look quite nice as well. I mean, we have a frag of bubble gum digger, as we call it over here in the UK, which is orange and green. And the polyps are just fluffed out. So, you know, it's called an easy SPS over here. So you can get them in some stores. I don't know whereabouts they live or not, but yeah, I wouldn't just jump into it. I'd just nice frags of either of them I've just mentioned. See how you go. You know, and if it doesn't work the first time, you know, don't get too despondent about it.
No.
It's not. You know, it's nothing against you. Your tank might not just be ready, or your environment might not be ready, depending on your lighting, your flow, your parameters. I mean, since I put the hydros over my tank, it's just a game change. Because I used to run the Red Sea LED 90, and I hated it. Hated it. The connectivity issue with them were just ridiculous. So I should have started from a hydro straight away. But you learn. You know, there's a few reefers I spoke to who have hydras, and they said put that over your tank and watch your acros grow, and they were right. So, but yeah, just nice and easy to go. If you've never kept SPS before, nice and easy, and then just go from there. And once you see them starting to grow, add another one. That's the way I did it.
Yep.
You know, that's how I learnt, you know, about them. I didn't just jump straight in and put a load of acros in my tank because I knew they wouldn't survive. So, you know, I like to make sure I know a lot about them before I do that. And, you know, got quite a lot of money invested now in the tank with the acros. So if I, as we saw last week from the pictures.
It's not hard to do that, is it?
No, it's very easy to go to a store and see a coloured Millia or an acro and say, yeah, I'll have that. You know, and put it in, and it strips the day after, and you get despondent.
Yeah.
So,
well, and the thing about them is too, especially if you have a lot of softies, you're going to have to be prepared to run carbon or something because the softies put out substances into the water that are not compatible with SPS. And even if you keep them far away, they're still circulating in the water. So, I mean, I've always run carbon in my mixed reef, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons why I haven't gone to the really super hard to keep tenuous or the smooth skin acros or the deep water acros, because they're much more sensitive, and I've always had soft corals in my tank, so I've not had luck with those at all. And Travis, I guess, Angeli, if you're, I don't know where about in the world you are, if you're in the States, Travis has great beginner SPS on his website. And I saw your thing there, the packs that you're selling, the Make Room for Bertha sale. That's awesome. And I know you've talked a lot about how much success you've had growing these SPS they're like basic but beautiful. And great for beginners, right?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to buy $100 frags to have a beautiful tank. You could fill it up with $15, $20 frags all day long. And as long as you manage those colonies as they grow out, you know, make sure they start growing into each other, you clip them before they kill each other off, kind of thing. You know, with placement, you can really have a beautiful tank for you know, a little bit of, you know, relatively cheap compared to $100 Acropora here and there. But yeah, the only other easy SPS I would add to his list would be like a Hydroponic. They are really easy to grow, but they're very strong, as in they will mow down anything that they touch, but they look really pretty when they grow.
Yeah.
It's just a different type of structure and, just polyp and everything, but they are pretty aggressive. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where research comes in. And I remember when YouTube started to become a source, and before that was forums, and it was tough to find things out. You really had to be prepared to put in the time. And now there is so much more information available to us that you almost run into that problem of, some people say, it's really easy, it's really easy, it's really easy. Well, yeah, but it's still a lot of work. So, and you have to be prepared also to test your water parameters, because they will consume elements from the water to a greater degree, calcium, alkalinity, and to some extent magnesium. They'll use that stuff up in your water. So if you've got a 220 gallon going, you're looking at dosing if you start getting numbers of SPS corals, because that's what they need to grow their skeletons. So that's another thing you pretty much have to commit to, is that you are going to test your water parameters, know what they are, and know what to do to maintain them or change them if you have to. What else have we got here? Oh, ATF in the house says, got my dinos wiped out with a 9-watt UV filter change, Microbacter 7, Dr. Tim's waste away, anemones and tank look mostly back to normal. Looks like dinos are gone. And then he said, last week's tips from the crew here. That's cool. That's good to hear. Hey, Adam Rice. Oh, cool. Sheem Ka found it. I'm viewing the video in a few. Cool. I hope that helps. Well, leave me, if it's my video you were talking about, leave me comments if you have any questions, and I'll look up some information that we've got with the boxes. We keep all the boxes. Anyway. Okay. Blue Basin Aquatics. Hello. And Angeli Sotamba is in New Jersey. Well, you need to go and visit fishofhex.com. It's okay, Travis, I'll say it for you. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Hey, MB Reef. Well, the whole thing is that I think your whole setup is unique because of the variety of products you have. Geez, I sound like a freaking commercial. But it strikes me that especially for people who are just starting out and are looking to be able to fill their tank without it breaking the bank, because of the value for money. And I'm always about value for money. And the stuff that you have is also healthy. So, you really
raised,
can't.
the colors are good.
Yeah.
It's as long as UPS doesn't decide to play, soccer on the way over there, but that's very far and few between, but there's always that chance. But yeah, I mean, right now it's 20 frags for $300 free shipping. And that's usually it's 15. You're not getting that anywhere else. That's just the way it is. And if I was buying coral like wholesale and cutting it up, I couldn't get away with those prices.
Yeah.
But because I grow it myself, I know that technically, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who sell coral are pissed off that I'm doing that. But welcome to the club of being pissed off at me. There's plenty of people.
Oh, come on. So how does it feel to be a changed man, since we're talking about that?
Well, the algorithm on YouTube determined that change. It got really, really bad. I mean, it wouldn't even let people actually sign up for notifications on the channel. It wouldn't even let them click on the bell.
You're kidding.
Yep, it got that bad. All because of a character, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it was fun while it lasted. I mean, part of that character is me, because it's kind of, it's my way of letting out certain things and being a certain way without, getting in trouble in society. But then again, I'm getting in trouble here in YouTube. So, I still have fun on Instagram and my feeds and stuff. I still, my stories, I still put up obnoxious stuff on there. But, I guess my goal is I like to make people laugh. Right. So if I have to kind of act like a fool or something, or act like a tool, but if I can make a couple of people laugh, because you never know, right? You never know who's watching your videos, what kind of day they're having or whatever. Yeah, I want to teach you something, but if I can, distract you for 10 minutes by being a weirdo, then yeah. But then again, I'm getting punished for it. So there's a fine balance there.
You just have to be a different kind of weirdo, maybe.
Yeah, a weirdo with less cussing and dick jokes, I guess. But.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, we got any more questions here? Angeli Sotamba says, thank you. I think I put that up there already. And refer. Hey, what's up, everybody? Benny, why is everyone talking about or wanting SPS corals? What's so uncool with euphyllias? You know, I think in a way people are a little scared of euphyllias. I kind of get that sense, and I think it's because they're not, although they're all in the same kind of genus or whatever, they all have different requirements. So some are harder than others to keep going. And so if people run into, let's say, a frog spawn and they always kill frog spawns, but they get a torch and the torches do fabulously well, they might not even try a torch if they always kill frog spawns, you know, like because they're all Euphyllia, but they all have different requirements. So I love Euphyllia.
My opinion on that is I think people are more into SPS because of this whole, and I'm just going to kind of say this, the instant gratification. It's the only coral that you can buy that you can actually see if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing within just a week or two.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's the only coral that provides instant gratification. And with the Euphyllia, you might be doing okay. It's fluffy. It looks cool, but where's the new head? Where's the growth? Where's the progression? SPS is the only coral that you get that from.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
That's my opinion.
And you can actually, instead of having to, it's harder to see growth on Euphyllia. It really is, except over time. If you look at it when you get it, and then another picture 6 months later, that's where you can see the growth.
Exactly.
But on SPS, you've got that evidence of growth with the white edges on the Montes, the plating Montes, and exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it can go the other way just as fast too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, sure can.
I do have a question about lighting. I have 4 T5 blue bulbs with Kessel in the center. How long should I leave the T5s on? Number of hours? That I wouldn't know.
So I guess I mean, if you don't mind me answering it, unless
no, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Travis.
So I run the kind of the same situation. I just use radions instead of the Kessels on my setup for that. But so what I do is I have my ramping in the morning for about an hour. So the lights are obviously off. They ramp on to whatever percent you want within that hour. And then once they get to that percent, that's when the T5s kick on. The T5s will be on all the way, as long as you want, up into an hour before you start ramping down. And then, have the T5s turn off and then your LEDs ramp down for the night. So that's what I do.
Yeah, because the T5s, you can't change the level, like the intensity.
You can if you get the right fixture and hook it up to a 0 to 10 volt if you want to go through all that. But if you want to bypass that, you can just do the hour on and hour off before.
Yeah. And that makes the most sense because they're going to be on when the LED's at its
peak.
Not peak. Yeah. And then and it's the LED that ramps down. The T5s going off will start the ramp. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Blue Basin Aquatics is in Dayton, Ohio. Andrea Christine. Hey, Andrea Christine. Healthy, clean, and well packaged. Just like Travis, right?
I don't know about that. This is personal. It's opinion based on that one, but yeah.
Hey, Diacanthus Reef. What do we got? Angeli. What? 300 for 20 frags? I'm buying for sure. There you go. I knew that would happen. Euphyllia rock. I have a 10-year-old branching enormous. Love them torches too. Nice. Hey, Beast Beeg. I don't know about growth rates. My frog spawn keep branching as well as my Duncan's. Mixed reefs is what I got. Yep. Hey, Sawyer Breslow. What par levels do you like at the top of your rock work SPS locations? Do you have a par meter there, Ryan? Have you been able to measure par in your tank?
Never done it.
Yeah.
Something that I will do because I'll be quite interested to see, especially the acros at the top, and see what actually par they're getting. So yeah, I'll look into it at some point. But for now, I can see on the corals themselves,
Yeah.
So, colour's getting better every day. I mean, I only noticed it on one of my millies that is sort of like behind the rock structure, so you don't really see it, but it's basing out now. It's getting green on its base. It's getting pink coming through, so
Oh,
it's
nice.
looking really nice. So
Beautiful.
yeah, I just look at my tank. I just look at the corals, and I'll know if there's something wrong. I mean, I look at it every day. I test the tank every day. So I do keep on top of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this morning when I looked at it, it was like, wow, you know, because I've not seen it properly all week because I've been working a lot of hours this week. So yeah, this morning I looked at it, it's like, I must be doing something right. You know,
Nice.
I've never seen the millies as fluffy as that ever. You know, we have quite a few millies in there now.
Yeah,
So
cool.
the strawberry shortcake's starting to base onto the actual rock itself, because that's quite a big colony, as we saw last week.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he's starting to grow. So everything's doing well at the moment.
Beautiful.
But, as I said earlier, it's not been plain sailing.
Yeah.
You know, we've had a lot of issues, but we're over that now by the looks of it, and yeah, things are going well. You know.
Good. And that's without measuring PAR. And Travis, I know you've got PAR numbers for your system.
Yeah, I try to stay within a range. So at the bottom of the tank, I usually stay around 200, and that's at the glass at the 31 inches or something. If you know, then you add the 7 inches to the lights. But so between 250 and about 500 at the top of the rock structure, dependent. I know I have different size rock structures. I know on the middle middle right is the tallest. I have about 650-ish at the top of that. And then where the corals actually are grown up to, it's almost like 900, almost 1,000 at the top there.
Oh my God.
But the coloration is, I mean, you're obviously not going to start at that level. The coral grew into that level and adapted to it and does pretty well. The only downside is once you cut a frag from a colony that size or that level of PAR, it takes a little bit longer to adjust in a frag tank that's at 400 or 500 PAR. So the color will actually get dark at first, and then it will brighten back up once it adjusts. But that's all.
Interesting. Yeah, and that becomes a factor too when you're selling it, because people need to be aware of what it needs to maintain its color.
Well, yeah, that's but it's also, that's why I like to have the grow out tank, because it's consistent with what the 90% of people who have SPS are running their PAR at.
Oh, right.
So it's not like I'm cutting it from the 300, putting it on a frag rack and then sending it out. I'm cutting it, and then it has weeks to, months to encrust and adjust to what you would be putting it in. And then, it just betters the odds of surviving afterward.
Yep. I just noticed Alex G is in here. Oh man. I'm sorry, Alex. If you're there, I'll bring you in, and then I've got a few people to say hi in the chat. Hey Alex, you're wearing your spaceman glasses.
Yeah.
Cool.
A lot of cutting on the saw tonight.
Oh, hey, Sigrid Runner's daughter. Hello from Iceland. That's cool. Patrick Montero is asking what everyone's favorite coral is. And somebody said, oh, yeah, Matt Greer. Travis, he said it was the monkey butt question. I remember that. Yeah. The stuff that happens, I don't know. Euphyllia. I missed a whole bunch of stuff up there. Sorry, guys. If you asked a question and I missed it, just pop it in again. We've got Gabe's Reef Tampa here. Look, it's Gabe, Travis.
Gabe, yeah. He holds a special place in my heart. My kid's name is Gabriel, so
nice. All right. So, Alex, you with the plastic background again.
Sorry, I got PVC on my phone. It's bugging me.
Well, I thought you were blowing us all a kiss there for a second.
Yeah.
So what did we do today?
Today I did that.
Oh, you put some water in. This is the 700, right?
No, this is the 400.
The 400? Why can't I keep them straight?
700's back there.
Okay. That's a big take.
Cindy, I'm very disappointed. You should know this room is as good as I do now.
I know. I should have a floor plan in my brain, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
But I did see the 250-gallon doorway tanks where they're supposed to be, or pretty close.
Yeah, so they're some of tonight's projects. So we're getting there. I got to get all my plumbing off of 400 done tonight. So, or at least most of it. So.
Why are you going to turn into a pumpkin? I guess tomorrow's Easter Sunday.
Just, trying to maybe fill this thing up all the way. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think Monday is going to be the overflow day. So there's a lot of plumbing that has to be glued because I still have to glue from here over to there, and then I don't have anything done for these tanks interconnects yet.
Yeah.
So
looking good.
Yeah, the other thing I did yesterday was all this and this and this and all this.
You're a crazy man.
It keeps going. Hold on. I can't get through here right now. That's a big pile of junk.
Wow.
And all this. So, yes, it's been busy.
So do you have any kind of a diagram of all of this? I mean, besides in your head?
No.
No. It's just kind of one thing at a time, and man, oh man. That's crazy.
I am a visual person, so I need to see what's going on.
Yeah.
So a good example is these water storage tanks originally were going to be side by side, but then once I got them over here and started manipulating them, I said, no, it'll be better if one's like that and one's like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I had to make some stands to get them to the right height here so they can feed the skimmer properly.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I was not very happy after I went to Home Depot. The lumber was ridiculous.
Yeah, apparently it went up some 30% here yesterday. As of April 1st, the prices all went up. The guy behind us is building a deck, and he spent a week just getting the base laid, but he was on a deadline because he had to get the deck boards, and he knew they were going up 30% like April 1st. It's just, they said it's going to increase the price of new housing by like tremendous amounts of money. It's just insane. Travis, I can see why you decided to wait, because this year
exactly why I waited.
like it's got to be an anomaly. It can't maintain at these prices once things.
Yeah, a lot of it had to. I actually started reading about it to understand it a little more, and they were kind of slowing down. And then COVID hit, and they really slowed down. I didn't think anybody would buy lumber.
Mm-hmm.
So then when they started up, they didn't start up a lot of heavy production, and then the demand went through the roof. And now, they can't, it's gotten so heavy with everyone doing DIY projects, all the home builders out there. Now the price is going up, which is increasing house prices, which is making less people buy houses. And they're still, from what I hear, they're thinking it's going to be a few more months before it stabilizes. So
crazy, man.
I was not, I'll put it this way. When I went to buy a 4x8 sheet of plywood that was 3/4 of an inch thick, I didn't expect $50 for a regular piece. I almost bought hardwood plywood because it was only $5 more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We ended up using melamine tabletops, actually made of MDF, for the structure for the lights in the bedroom, in the fish room, lights in the bedroom. And, that was because plywood was $80 a sheet for 3/4 inch. And the melamine was something like, I don't know, $45 for, so it would be $90 to get enough to do the same as a 4x8, but the edges are all finished and it's painted. Well, it's melamine. So it wasn't like you had to do a whole bunch of work to it. It was just basically cut it to the right size, drill the holes in, put the hooks in, and it's up. So it just is insanity. Where's my picture? I got a picture of that. There it is. So the melamine sheets are in the middle, and a third sheet is the outside edge. And this is, yeah, we progressed a little bit beyond this, but not a whole lot. Anyway, it's just crazy, and you don't really think about it, when you think about getting a big build underway or a new project. It isn't lumber that you feel is going to be the most expensive thing. It's a bit of a shock.
Yeah, it's definitely it definitely might put a little hamper on my display project. We'll see, because I got to figure out how much I need, because I just looking and I was like, this is insanity. So I'll see what happens. I'm still a ways away from starting that, but I do have to build my other secondary sump, but I'm hoping that I could use some of the scrap of the plywood that I have now, and then the plywood and lumber from my temp tank when I tear that down.
Oh, right.
Because I'm not going to build the secondary sump until I have this running. That I'm keeping my foot down on that one.
Even though it's a big job and you'd like to do it so you can, yeah, I know. Oh, hey, Phil, Reef Keeper. Hey, ReefGrrl and everyone, working on tile, but listening into all you reefers that love the hobby as much as me. Back to work, headphones on. Oh, that's nice. Glad you could stop by, Phil. So BC is asking you, Alex, are you building a new fish room?
Yes. So there it is. So,
and how many square feet is this again? It's big, 70 square feet?
700 square feet is this room.
Oh, man.
So
I love it. Hello, Mr. DKH. Alice Holbert. Alice, I read somewhere you're in construction. Seek out local lumber companies, run construction company, wait it out, order. Oh, you run a construction company, wait it out, order online for discounts. Yeah, that's all you can really do.
On the plus side, I was talking to my neighbors and they're like, do you know how much our houses are worth now? And I was like, no. And they told me, I was like, ooh, that's a lot. Because all the lumber prices shot them up a whole bunch.
Well, our builder has a website that has, it's really unusual in that respect. They put all the prices of the houses, the base prices, and then you choose your lot from a map that has all the lot prices, and then you add them together. Most builders make you register and all that bull crap. Like it's like, give me the information. It cuts out all the tire kickers, so you know what you're talking about when you first go to talk to them. It just eliminates layers and layers and layers of problems. So I always like to look at that stuff just to keep up with what's going on. And the last price they showed, they took down about a week ago, was $86,000 more to build our model of house than what we paid just for the house. The land has gone up by about $25,000, which our lot was $125,000. So now you'd be paying $150,000 for a same size lot. And now they've taken all the prices down. And I'm figuring it's because they don't know what they're going to be. So they don't want to commit to anything. So nobody really knows. There are no houses available for sale anymore in any of their subdivisions. And they're a big builder. They've got nothing available. It's insane. So now the resales are coming up. So a house that's 2 years old on the back street is $225,000 more than what this house cost us. It's unsustainable. It's craziness.
Yeah, it's going to hit its limit. People won't be able to afford it. And I'm just glad I got my house when I did. And
us too. We're lucky with the timing.
It wasn't insanity then.
Nope. So. The hardest thing about it was making a decision about whether COVID would be a problem. Because back when we signed the papers, we didn't know if we'd even be able to sell our other house with COVID going on. And with the timing that we had to have, because of having to move the reef out, redo the fish room so it was actually a bedroom like it's supposed to be, and put it on the market so that it all was all fresh and new and nice, and all the timing of that. And that was our biggest concern, was what's going to happen. But it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I don't think anyone expected real estate to do what it did during the pandemic. It just blows my mind.
Everybody got tired of living where they were.
Yeah, I guess. Well, they wanted to leave the city to go to the smaller towns and things, so they had space to work from home. At least that's what everybody's saying. Because in a 600 square foot condo, you really don't have a lot of space for 2 offices for people who work from home. So they're all looking for places that have outdoor space. Plus, in condo buildings and things like that, you have to be in close proximity to other people just to go in and out of your unit, you know? So, yeah, it's insanity. Oh, hey, T40. Thanks, man. Just wanted to show some love. Appreciate that. That's cool. Hey, Alice says, Alex, you should register for a contractor account for discounts.
You know, I'll think about it when I get to the point of the big tank, because I gotta see though what's gonna be the best route for lumber, because I'm probably gonna actually figure out what I need for that and try to buy it all at once, because I'll have to rent a truck. So
yeah. Does Home Depot down there do the thing they do here where you can rent their trucks for like $25? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not even 10 minutes from my house, so
yeah, that makes it easy.
I did get a chuckle though, because when I was checking out with a whole bunch of PVC from the store yesterday, like, wow, big project, and I was like, yeah, an aquarium, and they just were kind of like, that's 4-inch PVC you bought there, sir. Yes, I know.
I love that. We did that with the stock tanks. You know, what do you do with all the stock tanks? We're building an aquarium. What? So much fun.
The water storage tank delivery guy, he's like, yeah, my buddies were like, dude, are you delivering that to a farm? And he's like, no, somebody's house.
Oh, hey, Travis. Thanks for coming by. It was good to talk to you. And
hey, no problem.
Have a good week.
I'm going to go finish cutting up some coral and get ready for bed.
Yeah, because you're going to have a long day tomorrow.
Yeah, long day tomorrow. Yeah, just hit me up via email or whatever if you want to do this again. I'll be
around.
around.
Sure. I appreciate the time.
Awesome. All right.
All right. Yeah. Good night.
See you guys. Bye.
Cool. All right. Any more comments? I think I said hi to Mr. DKH. If I didn't, hi, Mr. DKH. Okay. So yeah. So I guess, Alex, it was the 150 you wanted to get running so that you could empty your temporary tank, right? You're muted.
The 400 is the one I want running.
Oh, to put your temporary stuff in?
Yeah, so I'm going to take my reef rack lighting and redo it a little bit, and that's going to go up here, and then basically everybody but the Spanish hog's going to go in here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Spanish hog, he's going to go in the 150 for now.
Okay.
So.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm one step closer though, because I got my ICP.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, and that's for your source water, right?
Once everything's running in the system for at least a week or so, I'll take a sample, and then I'll ship it off and just make sure there's nothing in the water that shouldn't be there.
And
if there is,
would you figure there might be anything from your construction process?
It's always possible.
Yeah.
You know, something could have fallen in. I was pretty careful to always watch things, but you just never know.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Well, I think I do have some kind of a fungus. Where's this picture now? This is what I think it is. And I took it's a really poor quality video, but the stuff is brilliant white. It's kind of got soft looking edges, and it's been forming spots on the bottom of the stock tank. It's the thing to the right. I'm going to move over shortly. This is slowed down. I know this is really bad quality, but it sort of has, it sort of looks fluffy. Reminds me of like dots of baking soda, but it covers quite large areas. And that's all I can think of, is that it's a fungus. So I siphoned a bunch out, and the water was really, really stinky. Here, I'll stop it now.
Yeah, it could be something breaking down.
Well, you know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if it's sponges from all the rocks, because they were loaded with sponges. And of course, when we took them out of the holding tank, they were in the air. Then we lowered them down into the tote, to transport them. Then we got back home with them. We bailed as much water as we could out of the tote, because it's like too heavy to lift, because of having to bring it in the house and then down the stairs. So there was more exposed rock for, maybe 5-10 minutes. So we took it downstairs and then lifted it out again. And then I'm kind of, moving it around, trying to figure out where I'm going to lower it down into the really deep stock tank. Because like I'm leaning over, and it's all I can do to reach the bottom and not just drop the rocks, right? And these things are heavy. So I kind of wondered if it was sponges. When I had that red sponge and it went white at the bottom, because I didn't know you aren't supposed to glue sponges. So it went all white and got that fungus. It was pure white. And when I pulled it out of the water, the smell was horrible. So I'm just guessing, but it seems to have come up since we moved more rocks in this week. So I don't know. And my skimmer went crazy when I turned it on afterwards. So I had to do big time adjustments on it to stop it from overflowing. And now it's got a pretty good dry skim. So we'll see what happens. I noticed the surface of the water was kind of oily looking, and I had shut it off because the nutrients were so low. But I had to get whatever that is out of the water. We shut all the flow off in the whole system, and I siphoned it out with a maxi jet, or with a Cobalt, one of those inline pumps, just so that it wouldn't spread everywhere when it was disturbed. So we'll see what happens. Everything looks fine. A couple of the corals don't look very happy, but that just could be partly from being moved from one system to another. The light is different. Everything's different. Yeah. So have you ever run into anything like that with
I don't know if I've ever seen anything exactly like that before. I mean, it's real possible, though. It could just be bits of sponges decaying, and it could be bacteria or some kind of fungus forming on them, that it's just biodegrading whatever's there.
Yeah.
You really have to stick it under a microscope to see what the heck it really is.
It's funny. My husband said, "Oh, you should get some of that out and put it in a container, and then you could get out your microscope and look at it under some slides and whatever." And I said, "I don't have a microscope, and I don't know if I want a microscope. That would be kind of dangerous." And he said, "I know you don't have a microscope, and I'm not getting you one."
You see a lot of cool stuff and a lot of scary stuff too.
Yeah. Yep. Johnny Martinez. I'm thinking of the tiny homes. Yeah, tiny homes that when they first started building them cost around 40,000. They're now 65. It's everything's just so crazy. Alice Holbert says, Alex, she says, "I need to find Mia, Alex. Boyfriend hates tanks." LOL. Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. My wife enjoys it, except for the fact that I spend so much time down here.
But you know what? In a way, it's temporary. We were talking about that today. It feels like every waking moment I'm thinking about or doing something with the tank, and I'm behind on things like rocks. I've been working on these arches, And those arches are made up of, each one is 2 separate pieces, like they're in half, right? And I'm going to cure them, and then once they're done, when I put them in the tank, I'll then cement them together so that they can't go anywhere. These have taken me way longer than they should. I mean, they're not easy. They have to be built up one layer at a time. These are some that I'm working on. And I'm trying to make them all like really close to the same size so that I can spread them throughout the tank, and they won't look out of place. And then I can load them up with coral, encrusting corals and Euphyllia and whatever else. And at the bottom of each one, I've got a nice spot to put a large solitary polyp coral, like an elegance or a heliofungia, or my cinerinas that I have, or scolies or whatever. And that's kind of the idea. But it's like you reach a point of inertia where you don't know what to do next because there's so many things to do. So this week we decided we're going to focus on getting the reef moved here. And we've got it mostly here. We just have one of the central pillars to come and one rock. And the green wrasse is still in that tank along with the aurora goby. And the aurora goby has taken up residence under the one rock that's left. So it's such a tiny, fragile fish. I really don't even know where to put it when I bring it here, because it likes being in the sand, it likes to hide, and I don't have any sand or any hiding places for it. Although I guess it could hide in among the rock bases of the rocks that are there, but I'm kind of having anxiety about that. So that's more inertia because I don't know what to do. So on Monday, we're just going to go for it. We'll just bring the rest of it home. We'll leave Mollywood until the very end, because that may be a case of we have to move the whole tank and set it up again and restore it, because I don't know where I'm going to put the big rock structure that's in there. I don't think I have space for it the way I have things set up right now. So still so many uncertainties, and it just it slows me down because I'm afraid to do things. So I don't know.
I know the feeling.
Yep. Hey, Chimp the Reefer. Yeah, Alice, wet skim, dose and run a little carbon. I do have carbon. As soon as I saw it, and plus there was a bunch of gunk in the water from moving the rocks. I got 2 bags of carbon. One is draped over one of the bulkheads inside the shallow 50 at the top. So all the water that comes through goes through that carbon or past it. And the other one I laid on the egg crate in the trash can and put filter floss over top. And I put the end of the hose right on top of that. So all the water that comes from the pump is going to go through that carbon one way or another. So hopefully that will take care of at least some of it. Oh, hey, good night, Skinner JW. Thanks for coming by. Okay. Jeepers, I haven't even looked at how many people we have tonight. We've got 39 right now. Holy smokes. Cool. So Ryan, do you have sort of is there any coral that you'll avoid getting when it comes to SPS for your tank?
Not really, no. When, like I said, I started with bird's nest, his strips as they call it over here, and digitata. It grew really quickly. I mean, I was amazed how quickly they grew. No, not really. As far as SPS goes, I can't say that I have. And before I did the rescape, I was amazed how quickly macros were actually growing, and they were growing into each other. I think the one coral that I wouldn't probably keep again is the barley green slime, just because how quickly it grows and different direction that it grows. So I think that's one acro that I won't keep again. But apart from that,
they're really big and they
Oh, yeah.
take up a lot of space, and the
Yeah,
branches are far apart.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I mean, when I aquascape my tank, I wasn't sure at first. So when I tore it down, it was like, did I do the right thing? You know. And
Yeah.
I know I've only got like, I think there's only 2-3 pieces of rock in there, but could I get it right? It took me hours just to literally skate 2 or 3 pieces of rock. So I had
Yeah.
to envision that when I finally got it, I had to envision right where I put the acros, where I put, and how it's going to look when they grow out.
Hmm.
So I just went with it. It took me a good couple of hours to get it right.
Yeah.
And when I went to bed that night, I'm thinking, do I really like it? Do I get up in the middle of the night and start messing about like I usually do? It's not a good thing to do. Yeah, as soon as I added a couple of acros on there, I knew, yeah,
Hmm.
it'll take shape, and it's taking shape now. Now we've
Hmm.
got some other colonies in there and growing. But you can spend hours aquascaping. It's one of the
Oh,
most frustrating things that
yeah.
I hate about the saltwater tank.
Well,
Just
because you
getting it
don't,
right.
have you run into where you pile all the rocks up dry? You know what you want them to look like. You put little Sharpie marks everywhere to
Yeah,
register them. And when you go to put
yeah.
them in the tank, nothing goes together the way it
No,
was
yeah, I've done,
supposed
yeah.
to. Never
Yeah, I had
does.
to like take the size of my tank actually on the floor, and I aquascaped. I thought, yeah, I
Yeah.
really like that. So when I go to put it in the tank, it's like, no, that doesn't look right. So you
Yeah.
constantly, and with me, I get
That's,
really frustrated too easy. So it's like, oh, for God's
and you're
sake.
holding rocks. So it's not good to be
Exactly.
frustrated when you're holding rocks.
No. So, yeah, even with 3 pieces of rock that I've got in there, it took me a while to do it. But it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes
Yeah.
time. Sometimes you've got to make sure it's right before you start filling, or because doing it underwater, which I
Yeah.
did, it's not fun, especially in the water cloud. You can't see it.
Hmm.
You're just thinking
No.
in your head, yeah, it looks right, and when the water clears and you get up the next point, you think, I don't like it. Here we go
Yeah.
again. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Exactly. Well, I had to redo mine because I worked on a table so that I could get around the back side of it where I marked down where the overflow was and all that kind of thing. And I was looking at it and I realized the way I had everything piled up, there was nowhere for big fish to go into a cave. It was all really low to the sand and lots of nice little low overhangs and everything, but I want big fish. I mean, not a whole lot of them, but at least a couple. So I had to provide places where they could fit in, and be able to hide and have their own caves. And so ultimately, I did come up with something I'm pretty happy with. And so I started looking at it and thinking, okay, these rocks are fairly big. I'm not going to be able to cement those 3 rocks together and put the capstone on. So I had to do 2 rocks and then 2 more rocks beside it, and then take a picture and then hope that I can get those 2 the same way. And I'm going to be cementing underwater. And I mean, apparently this stuff is supposed to cure underwater. So we'll see what happens. But I'm kind of tempted just to put in enough water to keep most of it wet, and then
yeah.
cement above the water, let it sit for an hour or so, and then, go from, I don't know. Well, it's such a crapshoot. You can think all you want, but
Yeah.
when it actually comes, and plus standing up off the ground, leaning over, holding heavy rocks, trying to set them down gently. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Look at that. Hey, John, how are you? Blue Carbon Reefing. Hope everyone's doing well. Look at that fireplace. Cindy's doing it big time. Yeah, cozy in the living room here. We got the fake fireplace, but those things are great heaters. We had one in the other house and we really liked it. Easy to install, not nearly as expensive as gas. And gas would be overkill in this room because it's not that big. Just a nice little heater. Take the edge off the chill. Cool. Alex is doing something over there.
Yeah, I don't miss aquascaping.
Problems as usual.
You're what, Alex?
Problems as usual.
Oh dear. So have you had your neighbors ask you why your lights are on in the basement all the time yet?
No, they really can't see anything. So I have it insulated for the winter, and then I'll probably cover it just because there's just one window, but I'm sure once the main display goes up, the neighbor will probably be like, "Why is it intensely glowing like a blue sun?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure mine glows blue out the side window, but we have a little piece of stained glass in there to just sort of cut the view. And the neighbor's house, you can you can see mostly sky and just the very, very front edge of their garage because it's pretty far away from this house. So it's not bad. It's bright during the day. I really like having that window right beside the sump area. It's nice and bright. It's good to have the natural light. Oh, hey, Robert Poorman. Cool. So Ryan, I can't remember if I asked you whether at some point you thought you would upgrade. I think you said you would get a bigger tank someday. Do you have any actual plans for that? Do you know what you want?
I quite like the water box peninsulas.
Yeah.
I always wanted a peninsula. I was gonna get a Red Sea Reefer 350, but I've heard good things. I've heard bad things. So, and I do know a tank manufacturer who builds tanks, just in case I wanted to go custom. So, I'm not sure. I will go some underneath.
Yeah.
Because I used to run my old system. I used to run a canister filter on there.
Yeah.
And I was told by a few of the reefers who I don't really say anymore that I can't run a reef tank on the canister.
That's not true.
No, it's not true. It's right.
No.
You know, I kept SPS. I kept all sorts of Euphyllias. I used to have a mixed reef more than anything before I got really into SPS. But I had acros in there and they do fine. Yeah, the canister filter's a bit more work, of course it is, but it doesn't bother me. You know, I mean, I do maintenance every week on my tank anyway, and I enjoy that side. You know, I enjoy mixing the water. You know, I enjoy going in, you know, the tank. But I literally spend about an hour on the tank when I clean it, which I do every Saturday, and I don't touch the tank then till the following Saturday. Obviously, I dose it because everything gets dosed manually. I don't have a dosing pump or anything like that.
Right.
The auto top off gets done manually. But yeah, I just do what I do, you know. But when I was told that I couldn't, you know, run a reef tank, I thought, right, I'll prove you wrong. And yeah, I proved them wrong. You know.
Well, I remember one of the first things that that I encountered with Travis Fish of Hex. One of his videos was about not using filter floss and sponges in canister filters when you run your reef, to replace all of that with the biological media, you know, the matrix, Cyperax, whatever. And so I took a big leap and I did that. And it made a huge difference in how well that tank did. I still had a sponge on the top layer. Well, actually, it was filter floss on the top layer in the canister just to collect the crud, because otherwise that stuff ends up all in among the media, and it really does become a nutrient problem. But that made a huge difference. And it was a 29-gallon cube, and that ran on a canister for 3 years. So it can be done. There are limitations. You know, you can still plumb a refugium if you want. You can still plumb extra water volume to do other things if you want. You know, nothing's stopping you. But
no. It was more for me to prove them wrong, because I was told by, you know, I thought, I'll prove you wrong. And I proved them all wrong, you know. But I'm glad I've got an all-in-one at the moment, because we can hide a lot of the equipment at back. Because what I don't
there is
see
that.
is, yeah,
That's true.
that's the only thing that bothered me about having not having a sump and having an external filter. You could see the pipes in the tank, see the heater in the tank, and it really irritated me. But at that point, there was nothing I could do about it. But you know, but the tank run fine. I mean, we had a really nice mixed reef tank. I mean, some of the Euphyllia we had grew like weeds. We had a huge tricolour bubble coral. It was lovely. So to say you can't run a reef on a canister, it's nonsense in my opinion. You know,
it's just different. It's like saying an all-in-one isn't a real reef tank. Of course it is.
Yeah.
What is a reef tank? A reef tank is salt water with corals in it. A Fowler tank is salt water with fish only. A reef tank, you add corals. That's, to me, once I had a 1.6 gallon Pico that had one piece of rock, some fern algae that came in on something, a honeycomb sponge that came in on something, a pygmy hawkfish, some Recordia, and a little tiny bubble coral that was a baby from the bubble coral I had in my other tank. And it was tiny and perfect.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I mean, I had a little nano about 3 or 4 years ago, and it literally had a little internal filter in it, the heater, and a little light that came over it, and I used it for an anemone, and it was lovely. It worked perfect. We did a little water change on it every week, clean the little. It only come with a little sponge. And the anemones were love life in there. So, you know, I see a few people over here, especially getting into nanos now, and doing really well with them. You know.
I think over here in North America, I think the nanos have gotten really big because that's gotten beginners into the hobby. I guess because it feels like less money to spend, less of a sort of big commitment to make right up front if you're not sure if it's something you're going to like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
It'd be great to do a survey and find out from the various retailers sort of what the proportions are of certain size tanks that they sell, because I can bet they're not all, reef or 350s and up.
No, definitely not. No, I don't think so.
Cool.
And I've wanted to do another anemone tank, but I don't think I've got the time for it now. With this one that we've got now, I do miss that little nano that I just literally at the side of my bed. And we had bubble tips in there. There's some nice carpet anemones in there. So I kind of miss that little tank. So it's been going through my mind for a while. Do I set another one up, or do I have time for it? But with this SPS tank now, I don't think I've got the time. But I do miss the tank. It's one tank that, and even my old system, I saw that down. It was like, am I doing the right thing? Because I took a break from reef keeping. And then it was like, right, I just want to go all full SPS now. But I do miss that little nano. It's one tank that I do miss.
Yep.
So I have to do something like that again.
We just had Sharbuckle's Reef pop in.
Cool.
Sean has been trying to join for a long time. Let's see if his phone will cooperate tonight. Hey, Sean.
Yo, it works.
Yay! And it's even the right orientation.
I'm finally getting it.
Awesome. Look at that.
Am I a cool kid now? There we go.
You are. Is this the 80-gallon CAD lights?
70. Yeah.
70. I knew I was close.
There we go. I'm so glad my new phone works. I don't have to steal my girlfriend's phone anymore.
Awesome. Looks nice. And talk about SPS reefer up here. Sharbuckles, you had the most beautiful softy tank on YouTube at one time.
Well, that's kind. Thank you.
No, seriously. I remember that on the streams, just looking at it and thinking that is what it looks like under the ocean if all the different kinds of softies grew together in 3 square feet. That's what it would look like.
Yeah.
And so now you've come over to the SPS side and look at this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been keeping reefs for a little over like 10 or 12 years now, so I've had kind of every coral you can name, but I don't know. Softies were just kind of my thing for a while, and then I decided with this one, I was gonna go all Montipora, nothing but.
Oh yeah, I remember
then,
this. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
And then it just kind of flipped, and now it's mostly acros with some LPS as well.
I seem to remember making a comment on Insta to the effect of, we'll see.
Yeah. yeah. Didn't work out, but for the best anyway.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
So how are things with you? I saw your aquascape is going along there.
Oh yeah, my arches. The rest of it is cooking right now in totes, and I do have one empty rock cooking tote, and I left the power head on and the heater running, so all the horrible grungy awfulness that's in there can stay in there, and I'm going to be putting all the arches in there.
Oh, awesome.
Because I put the first tote of rocks that I was cooking were actually the old coral skeletons, and those things are now actually in the sump system, so they're part of the sump system. So I'm thinking that they're cured. They're, they've got the biofilm. There's nothing nasty happening, and so that left me space in the return chamber, the final 100, to put more rocks in. So I emptied one of the other rock totes that's been going for about a month now and put those in there just to see what happens in the system. That was about, I guess, a week ago. Oh geez, it looks like something just fell over in Alex's picture. We see ceiling, or is that wall?
As long as it's not Alex, he's good.
Oh hey Davis Jew, how's it going, Don? So yeah, it's slow, right? I mean, it's been March 4th was the last time I had any update on my tank. And that was that they were just waiting for the glass to get back from being polished and waiting on the stand. So I don't want to push the guy. I don't want to be that person. I'm not in a hurry. I'd rather have a good job than a hurried job.
Oh, absolutely. You don't want to rush them, right?
No. And you got a concept aquarium. Did you buy that used?
Mm-hmm. I did. I got a really wicked deal on it.
Nice.
But it needs a little bit of, I think I'm the second or third owner of it. I'm not quite sure. Right. So I'm going to do a little bit of work on it before I set it up. But I got a 180 out in the garage, like from concept. And the softy tank, actually, my 90-gallon cube there, that was the concept as well.
Yeah.
They do awesome work.
Yeah, that's who's building it, and he's even building me flip up platforms in the stand, which they hadn't done before, I guess. And there was going to be, the stairs were actually going to be like slide out, like on drawer slides, like really, really heavy duty ones, which would have meant that the inner part would have had to be inside the stand, which is okay, because I'm not using it for anything anyway. But this way, it'll be completely open inside there. So I think that's going to look kind of cool, having the tank sitting on the stand and completely open underneath. And then the bottom section will be like a diamond plate cladding around the bottom.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Which will be the steps, and then they'll just flip up. Because, I mean, the stand's 40 inches tall. The tank is 21 inches tall. So I believe the steps are going to finish at 14 inches off the floor. So I'm going to have a step up so that I can actually get in the tank and work. And that's from seeing Alex's first setup where he had that giant catwalk behind the whole system. And I thought, man, that's what I need. No more falling off ladders because I stepped back instead of down. It has happened.
Have you done that? Is that actually happened?
Oh yeah, I was on my step stool that has 2 steps and then a platform. So when you're standing on the platform, I can put my hand flat on the ceiling, like it's pretty high. I also did a bird rescue off of our patio roof using that thing, and I'm normally pretty not confident, let's just say that, with my balance and all of that. I just climbed up there, got that little cedar waxwing, put him in a box on a paper towel and left him there so he was safe overnight because he stunned himself in the window. Anyway, so that ladder, I was working on the tank and I was carrying, like holding something, and totally got distracted. And instead of stepping down, I stepped back because I think I thought I was on the floor. And I went right down, and my head missed my little aluminum step stool that's one step up by inches, or it could have been really, really bad. Had a really awful bruise on my hip for a couple of weeks, and it really scared me. So
I don't like ladders at all to begin with, so
yeah. No. So anyway, so I'm kind of excited about seeing it when it's all done. And you know, you just gotta hope it's what you had in your head or better.
I think it's going to be better. I think it's going to be awesome having that.
Yeah. Yeah. And concept, I mean, the reviews are good. The thing's going to be Euro brace top and bottom, armor glass seams, all beveled polished glass.
Top and bottom Euro brace. Inside the tank or
inside.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, I went with the bottom Euro brace only because I'm going to have those gyres in there. And I wanted major water movement. And it's going to be a 21-inch by 5-foot panel of glass at the front. And you just hear so much about people's like bottom seams blowing out from heavy water pounding, right? And I just thought, I did some reading, and some people were talking about their big tanks and how they manage water flow and construction and this and that. And I just overbuilt, because that way I can pretty much do what I want.
Better overbuilt than not, I think. The one I have now is completely rimless, but I'm putting a Euro brace on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that myself hopefully next week.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I think was it Ryan at BRS that was talking about the guy that built his tank and the discussions they had over the height of the tank and how tall it could be and still be rimless. And that got me to thinking too. And I just thought, yeah, you know, I don't want a deep tank necessarily, but it makes a lot of sense to me because of the long stretches of glass to have some sort of a brace to hold it all together. Because I mean, 60 by 66 that's big. Yeah. I'm starting to get the idea when I go in that room now and stand under that canopy where the lights are. It just, yeah. So we'll see. I'll probably fit in there. I guess I should have a photo op in the tank, right?
I think you have to. It's necessary.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So tell us a little about your tank for those that might not have run across it before.
Mine? Oh
yeah.
Yeah, Cadlight 70 gallon. I think it's actually closer to like 67 and a half, but it's just easier to say 70. I've had it running just over a year, maybe like 14 months going on now. Mostly SPS, Radions, MP40. I just threw another, actually, just for a little extra flow. You can see in the top right there, just a little Nero.
Yep.
Just to get a little extra flow in the back there. It was kind of a dead spot. So, I don't know. What else should I say about it?
Well, what fish have you got in here right now?
Oh, too many. Too many. That one right in the front there is a lemon chromis.
Yeah.
I think is the name of it. It's kind of a jerk, actually. I don't even really like it, but I got it for free from a tank shutdown, so it's just kind of stayed with me.
Is this the one that's going back and forth, back and forth?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fairly big fish.
It's a good size, especially for a chromis. And it's fat and eats half of the food I put in the tank. And actually, so I had Big Mama in there. I think you remember Big Mama. Yeah.
Wasn't this going to be her tank?
This was her tank, but now she's over there.
Yeah.
So I had her in here, and I put that lemon chromis and a coal tang in from the shutdown.
Yeah.
And the coal tang just had chunks taken out of its side one day.
Oh no!
And I was like, oh man, I figured it was my huge Clarkie clownfish, right?
Oh boy!
And fins started getting nipped, and but I never saw it happen. I never saw Big Mama go after any of the fish. Only the lemon chromis. She only ever went after the chromis. And then one day I woke up and the coal tank was just severely beaten up. So I put it in my Refugium at the time. And it didn't last through the night.
Oh.
So I eventually moved Big Mama over. I turned the Refugium into a 40-gallon instead of a 10-gallon.
Yeah.
Put Big Mama over there, gave it her an anemone, and she's happy over there. But then I discovered, I don't think it was actually her that was beating up the other fish. I think it was the lemon chromis.
Wow.
Because I've seen it attack all kinds of other fish now, pretty aggressively. So Big Mama, I think, was wrongfully incarcerated, but she's happy over in her own little tank now. She's got like a baby maroon clownfish husband. So.
Well, that's a Scopus tang, right?
Yeah.
That one looks good.
It's a great tang. My tank is kind of full of a-hole fish. They're all kind of jerks, and they're like, I've got a Talbot damsel. Scopus tangs are kind of jerks. You know, a Clarkie, a maroon. I got a stick line, a green Chorus wrasse, a Melanaris. They're all just known to be really kind of mean fish, but it kind of balances out. So.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. If they're all aggressive, they sort of can defend themselves too.
And I got a new baby fish. I don't know if you saw it on Instagram there. Where is it? Somewhere in there. I ordered an ORA Farms lemon peel angel. So
yeah,
tiny baby.
I did see that.
Which is, everyone thinks I'm crazy for putting it in here because it's going to nip at corals, right?
Yeah, but don't they usually go after the fluffy polyps like acans and stuff like that?
Yeah, for
angels.
Sure. Yeah, acans. I think some Euphyllia, but this one has a taste for leptastria.
Okay.
Now I thought maybe because it was captive bred, I thought, okay, it's never been in the ocean, it's never seen corals. Maybe there he is, right in the middle of it.
Yep. Cute.
I thought maybe if I could, get it eating, get it real fat, used to being fed once or twice a day, maybe it wouldn't. But within, I think, 24 hours, I saw it picking at a gold leptastria, which is fine because I don't really care about it too much. And if it only picks at that one coral, I'm cool with it because it's sort of one of my dream fish. I love them.
Yeah, the sacrificial coral.
Yeah.
Robert Poorman says, "What kind of corals does Sharbuckle have? They're mostly SPS. Are you able to do like a little description?
Sure. Yeah, I'll just pop this off the tripod here and do a little.
Okay. You can be the human tripod.
Yeah, exactly. I guess we can start at the top here. So just a lot of Acropora up top. Is the light okay? Can you see guys? Okay?
Yep, it looks good.
Yeah. Set it to about 14K. I don't know if that's good enough, but a lot of Acropora up top. Some Stylophora in the back. A few Montes, not a lot. Like I got a forest fire digi there. Mm-hmm. And then down low, a lot of Favia, Leptastria, a lot of encrusting stuff kind of down low.
Yeah.
As well as I got sort of like a chalice garden over here, I guess you could call it. I found a few species that actually get along and don't sting each other. So
nice. Not all chalices have super long tentacles either.
No, yeah, this one doesn't. This red and yellow one doesn't.
Yeah.
So this kind of gold teal rim one here has like 4 or 5 inch long sweepers. They're huge.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to sting anything around it. So mostly SPS up top and good amount of LPS across the bottom.
Yeah.
And I got one Euphyllia hammer back there.
Oh yeah.
See it. I didn't even know I had it. I thought it just died and fell down, but I guess it fell and got wedged in a rock back there. And it was a tiny baby head when I got it. Now it's 3 heads, so I'm just kind of leaving it. And some zoanthids as well. They've kind of grown like crazy there.
Nice.
And I've got my Refugium, so it's connected in the sump here. So I got my sump in the bottom, and it's all connected. So this is the Refugium. It's not really Refugium anymore. All the algae that macro in here that I had died. So now it's sort of just like a mini softy reef with some frags.
There's that dune buggy frag rack.
Yeah, the dune buggy. Yeah, that's made by a guy in town here, Jay, Unorthodox Reef. You've probably seen him on Instagram.
Oh, cool. Yes, I recognize the name. Cool.
He's got a wicked 400-gallon tank. You can check it out. And it's
nice.
Awesome. But yeah, so this is sort of my, I guess it's a frag tank now. I got a bunch of Euphyllia on there. And then there's Big Mama and her, you can see her little baby maroon clown. The size difference is tremendous.
Huh.
But yeah.
Yeah. They look happy. They look really happy.
They are happy. They don't, no squabbles or anything like that. So.
Yeah. Hey, Broke Reef Man 45. Everybody's saying beautiful. Looks very nice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way it's gone. I had a small bout of dinos for a little bit, as well as some cyano, and then I had like the world's thickest diatoms. That was around the month 5 and 6. It was really rough for this tank, and I've lost a few, not whole pieces, but like this pink Millipora up here was maybe 4 times that size. It covered that whole empty area, kind of right here.
Wow.
And it just started to recede underneath maybe 2 weeks ago. So I chopped it up into a bunch of little frags, and they're all still alive. So that's it. All these frags here. Well, 9 of them are from that colony. So.
Bonus.
Yeah. So I'll let those grow out for a while and trade them locally or give them away to someone. But yeah, things are going very well with this tank. I'm really happy with its progression, and although my sump, the seams started coming apart, so I'm gonna have to do something about that, which kind of sucks.
No.
It's only been running 13 months, and I don't know if you can see it. Let's see right there. See that?
Oh.
Yeah. So I filled it in.
Holy cow.
I filled it in with some weld on, and I got some acrylic. So I'm just gonna sort of weld this on.
Yeah.
And weld it back together, and hopefully that does the trick for a little while. But I monitor it every day just to make sure it's not getting any worse.
Yeah. What happens for warranties for stuff like that?
I'm not even going to get into it.
Oh, okay.
I had problems with the sump from day one. Most of my money was refunded. It showed up cracked. Oh. And I asked for a replacement, and they refused to send me another one. But yeah, they sent me a bit of my money back. So I just kind of welded it back together and slapped some acrylic on the inside and outside where the crack was, and it's been working. But...
Yeah, not ideal though, is it?
No, but I'm not going to bother asking for a refund or for a warranty or anything.
No, I guess it's one of those things where customer service has to be good right from the start to be worth anything.
It really wasn't. So I'm not going to say any names, although I'm pretty sure you can find it easily. But
okay, I'm going to go back and look at everything for the last year. No, I get you. I understand it. My whole philosophy is if I have a problem with something and I really can't get it addressed, there's a decision that you make about how far you really want to go with it. And these days, I mainly just never recommend that person or service or whatever. Yeah. If somebody asked me my opinion, I would tell them, but I would never really go public with it anymore.
And I don't.
Yeah. The exception is the horrible Bubble Mega skimmer, because that was an awful experience. And I heard from somebody on that video that the design is different and that they now come with an air restrictor.
Oh.
Yeah, even though I was told it would void my warranty, and it was like, okay, but it's useless. I might as well drive over it with my car. So, yeah. Yeah, Michael Lee says, please name names so others don't have to go through the same crap. You owe that company nothing. It's true. And I'm sure, if you private message somebody, they tell you all about it.
Yeah, if you want to know more about it, just shoot me a message on Instagram and I'll tell you. But I don't know. They did refund a very good chunk of my money. It took a while to get it, but it wasn't an awful experience. It just really wasn't ideal. So
Yeah.
But now, a year later, the sump, which is $650, is now coming apart at the seams after a year of use. That's kind of crappy. But.
Well, and the thing is, it's not like you don't take care of your stuff.
No, yeah, no, for sure, yeah.
Because you do. You look after it. You maintain it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you do to maintain a sump? It's just supposed to hold water, right?
Exactly.
It's one job.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not slamming doors on it or leaning stuff against it or mistreating it, right? And yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyway, I mean, it would be easy to find if you just look at my Instagram. You can see exactly where the sump is from. But
yeah.
Anyway.
So this CAD lights, was it a custom size or is it something they supply
I think I don't. Do they still sell aquariums? Are they?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't even know if they do anymore.
Did you get this from the States or is it from within Canada?
Someone in town was shutting down. I'm all about the used. I'm all about the used aquariums. I don't think I've bought a new tank ever. I will eventually, but
I've bought used too, and it if you know what to look for and you're prepared to do some work sometimes you can get really good deals.
The seams were great. Silicone was great. I added an extra layer of silicone, and I also added side braces to it, so you can see. So I put those on myself.
Right.
So it was a rimless tank, but I added the side braces just for that extra sort of peace of mind.
Yeah.
And I'd do that with any used rimless tank.
Yeah.
I got this tank around the same time. I don't know if you remember, like all the Red Sea reefers were coming apart at the seams.
Oh yeah.
Right. Remember that?
Yep.
That era. So.
Oh yeah.
I was scared. So I said, okay, well, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's just add some side braces on, put an extra layer of silicone, and it's been great. No leaks, no nothing. So.
Yep. Yeah, I remember when all that happened, and the whole sheet of paper test, where
under the tank,
and you could put a sheet of paper under my tank. I had a 425 XL. But honestly, the tank, it was fine. There was no problems with the silicone, nothing anywhere.
Right.
No bubbles, no nothing. It was solid.
It's good.
So
they're fantastic aquariums. I just think maybe something got past quality control there on a few of them.
Yeah.
It happens.
Maybe the trainee was in charge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're pumping out that many aquariums, it's one or two are bound to fail eventually. They're not going to hold water forever.
No, and I've heard other stories too. I don't know if you guys have heard of a YouTube channel called Starving Reefer.
No.
And I followed his story until he ordered, I'm pretty sure it was a 425 XL. It might have been a 525. And it arrived damaged. And the problem was that the side panel and one of the doors, at least the side panel, had a dent in it. And the thing was that the box wasn't damaged. Yeah. So he knew it was damaged from the factory. Or maybe I'm getting the story wrong. It was quite a while ago, but he had a heck of a time. Or you know what? I think I am getting it wrong. Whoever he was dealing with, whoever he bought the aquarium from, the retailer, and actually I know who it was, the shipper they chose had a problem with it. And the tank was damaged and he couldn't get any satisfaction out of them. And that's the other thing, when you're dealing with shipping, you really are vulnerable.
Yeah. And I got this like my sump shipped from the States at the time. They didn't sell them in Canada. So not only did I pay shipping and taxes and duty and all that stuff, it costs a lot more than it does. Yeah, I think you can get it from Aquarium Depot now, but when you deal with shipping, you're kind of out that shipping cost, and you're out those. You
are, yeah. And the exchange too is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Hey, Nat King Reef, what did you do to get rid of the issues you was having? Okay, I'm not sure. Who are you asking, Nat? Michael Lee got a Rhizotrochus typus, the only LPS that eats Aptasia. Really?
What?
I'm trying. Oh, is that the walking dendro thing? I'm interested in what that is. I'm gonna have to look that up.
I just got a copper band. He ate all my Aptasia within like 4 days.
Yeah. He looks like he's doing well. Does he eat other food as well? Like
flake, mysis, brine, pellets even. I've seen him eat a pellet.
Nice.
But readily eats frozen. Flake, I think if I didn't feed for a couple days, he would eat. But I feed frozen almost every day anyway. So
yeah. Looks good.
It's a happy fish. It's awesome. I don't know why I've never had one before. They're wicked.
They're beautiful.
I think there's always like they're hard to keep kind of.
Yeah.
Right. So month number 2 now and doing well. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the initial period where if you can't get them to eat, it's really hard.
The first one I ordered didn't make it, but it didn't make it through the door. It was. I temped the water in the bag, and it was 52 degrees. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Those heat packs didn't work so well. I'm not ordering from that person ever again.
Wow, that's sad.
Poor shipping. Very poor shipping.
Yeah.
And you know where we're from, Cindy, up here in the north, you gotta have some good heat packs if you're shipping fish.
You really do. And you also have to have couriers that give a crap about what they're doing.
Oh, lights up.
There we go.
Now you can just see me.
What happened, Dad? Where did you go?
We still got Big Mama. There we go.
Big Mama. Woohoo.
I don't have any makeup on, so I'm not going on now.
Hey, I drew eyebrows on, and I don't even have to because my bangs are so freaking long. I'm due for a haircut, but I have a feeling it's going to be nail scissors because we're on lockdown again, of course.
Again? Yeah. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. And
oh, man.
I'm getting the new tank together, I'm pretty much laid off for the next month. So.
Yeah. I don't have COVID fatigue because I'm sick of doing what we're supposed to do. My fatigue comes from the constant change in information, the inconsistencies, this way 1 week, that way the next week. I've got to the point where I almost don't even want to know anymore.
No, it's constantly changing. There's never really a straight answer with what we're doing or what we should be doing or what's gonna happen. And
no,
it's kind of getting old, but.
Well, and I think the problem is becoming they feel the need to answer the questions. So instead of saying, we don't know that yet, they answer the question, only for 2 days later, a different answer to come out. And that is a problem. And, in a way, it's the media, it's the opposition parties. They're constantly badgering them.
Oh, they're awful.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure you got a lot of viewers from the south here, and they probably don't know about our political situation, but they're all trash, and so is our media. Hey, you know what? As long as we're healthy and happy.
Yep. I'm quite happy to stay home and play with my fish tank, quite honestly.
Yeah. Well, the first, 6 months of last year, I just got to stare at my aquarium all day, every day, and I'm totally okay with it.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to be retired because in a way, we're in the best situation we could be in, income-wise.
Right.
So we're lucky that way.
I got all my plumbing in this week for the 180, so I'm excited about that. I got it from Aquarium Depot. It's it's gonna be hard to see.
Oh yeah.
It's black PVC, so it's all the fittings and pipes are all black. It's gonna look pretty slick, I think.
Oh, nice. And where are you gonna put this one? The 180?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Somewhere. My initial thought was I bought it after I discovered the sump was coming apart at the seams, and I had a panic. I'm like, oh my god, I need to buy a new sump. And then I said, oh, if I'm going to buy a new sump, I might as well just buy a new tank. And then that's what happened.
Come on, I thought you were going to say that you were going to put a 180-gallon sump on your 70-gallon Cadlites aquarium.
Yeah.
So that would be something.
Yeah, that would be for sure. But no, so I sort of bought it in a panic, thinking I'm just going to take these two down and put it in the 180. Mm-hmm. And then, well, my mind changed, and now I've just got a 180 in the garage. So we'll
if with a 180, would you be able to put Big Mama in with the other fish?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it a go.
Yeah. She has lived with other fish before, right?
Oh, yeah. And she's honestly the only fish she's ever really terrorized was that stupid lemon chromis.
Yeah.
Which I hate anyway.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's a mean fish, and I don't like it. But it's staying anyway. I'm not going to get rid of it.
Yeah, I feel that way about my green wrasse. I don't like the fish.
Yeah.
He causes nothing but trouble.
Yeah.
But it's his nature. It's the kind of fish that he is. He does the things that he does because of what he is. And I mean, you can't really dispose of something like that just because it's inconvenient. I mean, it's marine life, right? I've raised him since he was an inch long. So
I've got a green wrasse as well. And it's still relatively small. And I remember hearing you talk about yours. And
yep.
I'm not looking forward to that. But
he doesn't. I've never seen him attack another fish. It isn't that. It's that he is quite intimidating. He will chase other fish.
Yeah.
He grabs sand from the sand bed when he's looking for food, I assume, and then spits it all over everything. He knocks stuff over. He's just a pain. But he's going to the LFS to be a pest control in the frag tanks.
Oh, really? It's you don't have it anymore? Whoops, I missed that.
Oh, the green. Oh, no, I still have him.
Oh, okay.
But he is going to go into the LFS once I get the rest of the stuff out of that tank. He's going to be the last thing in there because I mean it's about an hour's drive, so I have to arrange ahead of time. I'm going to probably have to figure out some way to maintain temperature. I got bubblers and everything, so I'm not worried about that. But I don't know.
An hour? You don't have to worry, honestly. Yeah. It's fine.
I hope so.
I've brought back fish from Niagara back to Ottawa just in a cooler, and it was totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it smashed its head against the glass too many times.
Oh, man.
Purple tang. Yeah, that sucked.
Wow. Nat King was wondering if you got all your algae issues solved.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did. Absolutely. It was tough because I went through, it was cyano and then diatoms and then dinos and then diatoms again, all kind of back to back. And defeating those things, it's kind of, with the diatoms, you come on to lower your nutrients a bit.
Yeah.
With the dinos, they say to feed heavy.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting that.
And then you get the cyano from feeding heavy.
Feeding heavy, right? So it was tough. I ran UV. I did crazy water changes to get rid of the diatoms. And the dinos came. You're not supposed to do water changes with dinos. So I stopped, and then that's when the cyano came. It was just a trial and error of doing a million things, blackouts. I dosed a ton of bacteria, Microbacter.
Yeah.
And I think it was just also kind of the tank was new. So as it matures, it stabilizes. But yeah, no, water changes, dosing bacteria, blackouts, removing it myself, adding flow, reducing the photo period. It was just there was a lot. I don't know. I don't think I can say what worked exactly because I did so many things. But it worked. One of those things worked, and I'm happy it did because now it's nice and clean. Oh, also for the diatoms, I added 2 tiger conches, and they stir up the sand bed constantly, and they keep it super clean.
Right. I like conch snails. I
Oh, they're
really,
great, yeah.
I love them. And there's another thing, the green wrasse, he would flip them over all the time.
The snails?
Yeah.
Oh, really? No, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. And they were big, the ones that I had 5 in the Red Sea tank at one point, and I'm sure that he pretty much assassinated all of them.
Oh,
and I don't even think it was to eat them. He just kept flipping them over. Stressed the poor things right out.
You said your LFS is an hour away. What LFS is that?
Oh, Kitchener Big Al's.
Oh, Kitchener Big Al's. Okay.
Yeah, and where we live now is an hour to where I used to live, and then another 40 minutes to Big Al's. But if we go on the 401 and all of that, on the highway, we can get there in about an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad. It's not awful. I mean, there's worse.
Yeah.
I've driven to Montreal on lunchtime just to see what they have in stock before. So like that's 2 hours. So it's not
Yeah. Well, Big Mama, just what a beautiful fish she is.
She's from afar. Up close, she's ugly. She's beat up. She's got a lot of scars on her face.
Yeah.
I don't know what from. I think it's just from before I got her. I got her out of a live rock bin at an old Big Al's that hasn't existed in years in Ottawa. There was 2. There was East and West.
Yeah.
And West End was shutting down. And she had been there for 2 years, just in their live rock bin, kind of neglected. And she was skinny. And they told everybody that. I even heard them like, oh, yeah, you don't want her. She's aggressive. She'll kill your other fish. And it was the last day they were open. And I said, I'll take the big girl. And I brought her home. And I'm glad I did because I've had her for almost 5 years now. And she's fantastic. She's great. And Taryn just got some Clarkies as well, I think.
Yeah.
I love seeing them because they get passed by a lot. People want designer clowns. They want frostbites and whatever the hell their names are.
I just want clowns that aren't going to attack me when I go in the tank.
Oh, she bites me. she's taken chunks of skin. Yeah, she made me bleed once. But even worse, the maroon, the little tiny 1-inch maroon clown is just nasty. Absolutely nasty. I put anything in there and it's attacking me. My hand, tweezers, anything. So I don't know how the other fish will do with that one. But I mean, there's a Springer's damsel and a 6-line in there, and
I just saw this. I just saw the 6-line go by.
Yeah, there it is. There, yeah, and then the Springer's is I can't see. It's right behind the frega. But they all get along. They don't. There's no aggression in there whatsoever. So maybe it'll be fine with the other fish.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Benny's wondering, is this a 40 breeder?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I like the 40 breeder size for kind of everything. I had a 40 as a display before, and I loved it. And it's a great size for a sump or for a refuge or for just like a small reef. I love it.
Yep.
I don't think I'd go any smaller than that if I was doing a smallish reef again.
Nice. It looks just so peaceful.
Yeah, it's a calm tank. I originally set up to be like a refuge. I was going to partition it off and have just a bunch of Caulerpa and Chaetomorpha in there, and then have half as a frag tank. But then I switched Big Mama over, and I put the rock with the big nem. Actually, that nem was tiny when I got it, and then she just kind of took over, and then I put some toadstools in, and the Xenia started taking over, and I was like, okay, it's just another display now.
Yep.
Except it's covered in bubble algae, like covered. It just rolls on it. They're like tumbleweeds in this tank. They're everywhere. They're just rolling around the tank.
I used to get them all stuck to the power heads, and in Mollywood, they're in the back section. They get through the vents or through the weir teeth, and they go over top of the divider, and they end up fastening themselves to the sponges that I've got back there that are supposed to be nitrate reducing. Well, like they just hold bacteria, right?
Oh.
And so you pick one of these things up and the whole thing is covered with a layer of bubble algae. Super healthy, but it's not in the tank. So, you know.
Yeah. Here, I'll show you. You'll have a laugh at my power head in here. Actually, I don't know if you saw it. I posted a picture the other day, but...
Robert Poorman says, "Oh no, I just got a pair of small black ice clowns. Am I doomed?"
This is my...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
I did see that.
So bubble algae, we got some feather caulerpa on there. There's some Cato on the other side. There's some dragon's breath macro going on there. It's like its own ecosystem, that powerhead.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I did get your toadstool, your weepy toadstool, on another frag disc.
Yes, one of these days, I'll come pick it up. Like
definitely
4 years after we initially talked about it.
I think it's a year old now, actually. The frag, yeah,
itself?
Yeah, and it's doing well. It's now fastened itself to a nice, I think it's 1.75 inch flat, round frag disc.
Oh, awesome!
And hopefully, it's kind of laying on its side a tiny bit. So hopefully, it'll straighten itself out and go north.
Cool. Yeah, it was growing funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, it grew from the bottom on a rock all the way up the side of the Egyptian statue guy.
Yeah.
And for a long time, there was a strand of foot that went all the way from the bottom of the thing to the top of the thing, and then that finally separated. And when I finally cut it off, it was right on top of the head of the Egyptian thing. They travel.
Yeah.
Which I hadn't run into with toadstools before, but this thing, the original one, walked all the way across the front rock.
It's interesting.
And started growing on the little platform, like the overhang of the second piece of rock. And I actually had to cut it away. And so it took a little while to recover from that. And the other day I noticed that there are now little tentacles growing out of the little tiny piece that got left behind.
Oh, no way. There you go. You'll have another one.
Yeah, exactly. So they travel.
I love toadstools. I can't wait to get it eventually.
Yeah. Oh, and it's so beautiful. It's such a gorgeous pink color when it's happy.
I'm getting another one. It might be, I think it's about 3 times the size of this one, so it's huge.
Ooh, wow.
And I'm going to put that in the 180. I just got to go pick it up. It's the other side of the city. It's about a 30-minute drive. I'm just super lazy. Lately, anyway. And I got this one. It's kind of bushy, long-ish polyp toadstool.
That's a nice one.
I got that for free. It was tiny when I got it. Now it's nice and happy and colored up. I like it. Yeah. I do miss my softy tank. I look at videos and pictures of it, and I'm like, oh, why did I get rid of that? It was awesome. But I'm real happy with the way 70's going, so it's okay. I'll live with it.
Yep, it's an evolution.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah. And now, after, I'm going, okay, I'm going to do a bunch of SBS. I'm going to get rid of a lot of the LPS in the air. That's kind of what I was thinking. And then I went out and bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Favius for whatever reasons. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know.
I like encrusting corals. And the new tank is going to have a lot of them because I have the perfect kinds of rocks to put them on.
Cool.
They're so colorful. I think that's what people miss.
Yeah.
I honestly believe people think they're going to be... People buy them thinking they want to frag them and that they're going to be hard to frag because they're encrusting, but they're actually not. All you have to do is plant rubble, if that's what you want to do. Right. And then you just, as soon as it starts growing up and gets mostly over the piece, you just break it off.
Yeah. I do that with plugs sometimes too. I'll just stick a frag plug beside them.
Yep.
And there's so many different colors. Like the color varieties of Favias and chalices and stuff are nuts.
Yep. They're absolutely unreal. Crazy. Yeah. I think they're really underrated.
I agree. These ones are nice. Let's see if I can get get some blue lights on here. I just got T5s in this tank with a crappy little 30-watt LED. Let's see.
Ooh.
1 second. Let's see here. There we go. There's the fancy colors.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, you got a lemon spice up front there?
Spicy lemon, the Wolverine behind it. That's a rainbow chalice. It just turned the other way. You can't see the blues and greens in it. And I don't remember the names of the other ones. Raja Rampage chalice, just a tiny little one I bought from a guy in Toronto.
That's on my list.
They're super nice, and when it's a huge colony, they're gorgeous. And they actually grow pretty fast, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I have a mycelium that's got a purple base with orange eyes, and when the new eyes come out along the outside edges, they're yellow.
Cool.
And it's probably, if I put my two hands side by side, it's probably as big as both my palms together, like both my open hands together.
Wow.
And it's just amazing. I got it as a tiny frag, and the first time I saw the tentacles on the thing, I was astonished. It's one of those that has 6 or 7 inch tentacles.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's going to have to go kind of in a corner on its own, but under the blue lights, the thing just glows. Those orange eyes are stunning.
I'll show you my favorite Favia I've got, if I can get this on. There you go. This guy here. That's my favorite. It's like a blood diamond, I think it's called.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. That's one of my favorite pieces in there.
Yeah, very nice.
Let's back off. I'm so bad for turning my lights on after they've been out for a while. I'm awful.
Nat King Reef said, okay, got it. You did everything.
Do everything, yeah.
Do everything.
Exactly. Just do it all.
Ooh, that anemone looks pretty.
Yeah, I think it's called a flame tip or something like that. I don't know. A buddy of mine shut down his tank and gave me it. It was just a piece of his big anemone that ripped off. And he's like, I don't know if it'll survive. I don't even think it had a piece of the mouth attached to it, but it survived and got huge.
Wow.
Although it looks like my Elkhorn Monty just fell into it, so I should probably do something about that.
Uh-huh. I would say so.
Yeah. Oh, easy, big mama.
Yeah. Don't bite me now.
The Elkhorn just grows so fast. I've got chunks of it everywhere.
Me too. I've got to the point where if I knock a piece off, I don't even try and rescue it anymore.
No,
I just let it go straight to the bottom.
I did the same thing, except 2 pieces that broke off fell in between the cracks, and now I've got it growing out of all sorts of places.
Oh, good night, Benny.
The worst is Possilopora, though. It's just my tank is littered with it, and I wish I never put it in my tank. But.
Yeah. Has it spawned?
Oh, yeah.
Is that why it's everywhere?
Oh, yeah. Everywhere. There's just tiny little Possilloporas, and it's a bright, bright green. It's a really nice color.
Yep.
But when I have just the blues on, I can see little tiny green spots all over the tank. And it's got a really powerful sting. So.
Yep, they do. I have video of the Possilopora beside bird's nest frags in my temporary tank before I moved everything into the Red Sea. And the Possilopora sticks its polyps out about 3/4 of an inch.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. And it's like stuck right onto the bird's nest.
And I've got a little tiny piece of it growing below my Walt Disney. And I'm like, no.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, time to get rid of you. So I just kind of like scrape it off the rock every once in a while, and it still comes back. Even though it's the tiny little, like 1/8 of an inch, tiny little Possilopora.
Yeah.
It's scary when it's beside your expensive acros, you know.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wow, that nem's looking huge today. I just put the T5s on 2 days ago, and everything is just that much happier recently. Nice. All I had was this little 30-watt Amazon special on here, and it was actually, everything was growing.
Yeah.
I was really surprised. I think I paid $60 for it on Amazon.
Yep.
And it works, but everything does look that much happier after these 2 days with the T5, so it's proven. Anyway, I'm going to get going. Thanks for having me on this stream. Oh, hey, I'm glad you could make it tonight. This is awesome. No, it's fun. I miss jumping on and kind of watching and all that, but it's so much more fun participating as well. So. Yeah. And I appreciate the time you took to show us everything, because
There's nothing like seeing other people's tanks. It's so motivating.
Yeah, no, I love it, and that's one of my favorite things about YouTube and Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
Scroll through with your morning coffee or orange juice, whatever it is you drink in the morning, and see everyone's progress and what they got and what they're doing, and it's a lot of fun. So I love participating in that.
Cool. Well, take care of yourself. And
yeah, thanks for having me.
I hope the 180 work goes well, and I'll be watching Insta for the progress. And I hope you get back to work sooner than later.
Yeah, I'll be working like 2 days a week right now, so I'm not like fully laid off, but thank you. I appreciate it. We'll hopefully back at it full time in another month.
Yeah. Oh, someday we'll be able to meet up and hand over a toadstool.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I just got a new car finally, so I'm back on the road. I was carless for like a year.
Oh,
there, so,
yeah, that's rough.
Very, very rough. Luckily, I live maybe an 8-minute walk from my work, so it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, gotta run. Nice talking to you, Cindy.
Yeah, you too, Sean.
And what am I doing here? Hey, good night, guys. Take care.
Bye. Cool.
Right.
Awesome. Hey, Alex. So nice to see Sharbuckles. Good night, Benny. I think I said good night to you. Stay safe and be safe. That's from Benny. So have you been busy there, Alex? I bet you have.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
You had a problem?
Always. Just trying to work around it in my usual way of let's just put something together and see how we can make it work. So I think I know what I want to do. I think I can make work what I have. I just need to to have some patience with it to let it flow flow to me so I know what I got to do.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I know the feeling.
Yeah, I'm experimenting with uniseals right now, so that's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's what you're using on the 250s, right? The 250-gallon tanks? Yeah,
they're stubborn.
My husband talked about using those in a couple of places on our setup and ultimately went with bulkheads just because of the concern about like what happens if you don't get that hole drilled exactly right. Like there's not a whole lot of play that you have with the uniseal.
Yeah, you got a decent amount because it's using compression from the fitting going in it because it goes into the hole kind of loose almost, and it's when you start trying to push it in that it gets crazy. As I am finding out right now, it's not being kind. So,
and it's not something you can fix with a sledgehammer now, is it?
That's debatable. Haven't tried that yet. I have a rubber mallet. That will be my go-to for the moment. So I think they were saying you could use like a silicone grease or something on them. So I don't know if I'm going to do that yet, but we'll see.
Mollycoat 111, reef safe. I have some. It was not cheap, but we have a tube of it, which apparently is a lifetime supply because you really don't need much.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at is either I'll have to use something to just put a little tiny bit of something on there, but
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. I want to try and get 2 of them on here because I'd really like to. I can't. Well, I shouldn't say I can't. I just have to figure out how I'm going to divert my water because I have these, and I'm thinking I'm going to move these out here and then use this area to go off that way, and then it ultimately has to come back here.
Right. So you're gonna offset those other pipes to give you a gap to keep the pipe in along the wall you've got there?
Is that I need to put 2 more of these before they go into this.
Oh.
it's a lot of stuff to come into a small area. So originally this is what I wanted to do, but I don't know if this is going to be realistic here. So I'm just going to have to toy around with it a little bit. I'll figure it out. So.
Yeah, it's kind of like electrical cords, only much more permanent. I'm always messing around with electrical cords and trying to put them somewhere where they're not crossing other cords and they're not in the way and they don't turn into a big snake pit. And man, is it ever hard. And especially right now, because everything down there is temporary, essentially. When everything gets up and running with the main tank, I won't need all those power heads. I'll just need maybe one power head in each tank. The skimmer will probably still be where it is because we put together a homemade skimmer stand, of course, like you do, right? Every single time. And it was so tall and kind of unsteady. My husband found a perfect size piece of glass that used to be an aquarium lid. And it fit perfectly on top of this thing, and the skimmer is sitting on it. So that's where the skimmer is going to live. So now that that's done, I know where it's going to get plugged in, but the power bars I want to use are the ones with switches, and they're still on the other tank. So that's the other thing I have to do this week is free up at least one of them by combining stuff, bringing home some power heads from that, like it's just endless. But at least with electrical cords, you're not making a decision that's going to be really hard to change like it is with PVC, with all the cutting and measuring and turning and fittings and glue and man, oh man. Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Alex.
Yeah, I was going to say, I boo-booed this thing yesterday.
Uh-oh.
So it was kind of funny because, well, I marked it to cut it, and I cut it, and then I realized, how did I cut this like 8 inches short of what it was supposed to be? I don't even know how I did it. There's little marks on here that maybe that's what I did, is I saw that and thought it was my pencil line. So, oh well. But
yeah. Well, it's a big enough piece. You could probably use it for something else.
Oh, I just threw a coupler on it, so it's in there.
Oh,
this is my water, my water pump out to the waistline for the house.
Oh, okay.
So this is the line that goes to this tank. So I decided to put in a pump out so I could pump out water from the main sumps. And then the pump that's feeding this 400 is not going to stay here. It's going to go to the secondary sump over here. So I put in a shut off to the other sump, and then a valve to supply from this sump, and then a shut off to here if I need to pump out, and then a dual valve here to isolate so I can't boo-boo that easy either. And then this is going to be the pump out for the 250-gallon tanks.
Wow.
You following all that?
Yeah, and actually I understand why you're doing it that way, because it's like, okay, how do I get this thing working? And it's all the steps you have to take to get that thing working. And as you go through each step, you go, oh, but if I do this, I can also accommodate that. And it kind of, well, evolution. Geez, tonight's theme seems to be evolution.
Well, and I had the 1.5-inch valves already from the old system, and I'm not going to use them this time around because the return line is going to be a 2-inch line. So
yeah,
I might as well use them for something.
Yep.
So
exactly. Well, I took some footage of my husband drilling out. He had a glued piece of PVC glued into a ball valve. And so he showed me how he got it apart. And it was using the stepper drill, like it's shaped like a cone. and putting it in, getting it hot, and then just wiggling it out. So we took a bit of a video, but I would like to put together like a hints and tips for working with PVC video, just from what we've done here. But there's going to be disclaimers. It's going to be like, make sure you wear safety glasses and a mask and gloves, because the gas that comes off this stuff is not very good for you. You know, like that kind of thing. So I don't know. I may not make that video because I don't know if I want to be sued if somebody ruins their lungs breathing in molten PVC gas.
Yeah, I like my ratchet cutters, but with the 2-inch, even the ratchet cutters are a bit much for them. So
yeah, we had to buy a bigger one because the one I got that was supposed to be rated for it didn't even come close. So
yeah, mine I have to partially cut it, take it off, move it, start cutting again, and then I can get through it. But as long as my wife is awake, I could use the saw. So that's the late night plumbing tool when she's asleep, so I don't get yelled at.
there we go. We're back. That was me. My Wi-Fi cut out.
Ah. So. But yeah, no, this will be a fun adventure with uniseals here. I had the feeling I'm going to have some fun here with this.
Yeah.
I've never really used them before, so I'm sure there's some tricks to them. I just got to figure them out. So
This is it, right? It's all new. It doesn't matter how much reading and research you do when you're actually faced with it, especially that first one.
yeah, it doesn't look bad when I sanded off the end of the PVC. That helps. I really think though I need to just while I was messing around earlier, I got one in with water on it. So if I I'll have to see what other kinds of little oils and stuff a little dab of won't hurt. Like I don't know if I could get away with something like some olive oil or vegetable oil or something.
Yeah.
I gotta do some reading.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine anything food grade would be a problem in small
Not that
quantities.
small of a quantity.
No. And olive oil is usually the lightest. It has I think it has the lowest flash point. Like if you can burn it really easily, so it's fairly it's not very viscous, I guess. But it might be just enough.
That's my Google search for later. Olive oil reef safe, vegetable oil reef safe. Because I don't know. Never tried it before, but I'm getting awful tempted with this uniseal thing.
Yeah. Well, Don Davis Jew says try soapy water.
I get soap in my tank. I don't like soap in my tank. Very, very picky. But yeah, I can get it on the uniseal now.
Oh, because you sanded it or filed it down.
Yeah, you could see how there we go.
Yep.
Where's another one at? There we go.
What's up?
So this one, I'm really off with the camera today.
Yeah, no.
So
Live stream.
this one you can see it's awful flat here, but when it has PVC through it, it mushrooms it out. So it actually has quite a bit of movement to get into the tank and push on it. So,
that's going to be cool.
But, yeah, I just gotta figure out how to do it easy, which probably be some kind of oil or something. I'll figure something out.
Yeah, or if you could get something that's like water soluble, that would work. I can think of a few things, but
are they not? Are they not safe for the live stream?
well, maybe we don't want to go there.
Let's not do that.
I know some who would, but
that's too hot. But yeah, no, I'm gonna try these out on here and see how that works. And I just gotta get into this first 250 gallon tank. So
Yeah.
Which I know I'm going to be able to do it. It's just a matter of figuring out the puzzle here for the plumbing. So I don't think I'll be finishing the fill test on the 400 tomorrow.
Well, and the other thing is, like, don't you find it's a process where you have to keep going while you have it in your mind? Because if you step away from it, you think, oh yeah, I'll remember that when I come back, and you just don't. I don't know, maybe it's me because I'm getting older and it's happening naturally, but I've really started writing things down because I don't remember, even though you would think it's the easiest thing in the world to remember, you just can't. So when it comes to complex builds like this, like you have to sort of keep going while your mind is thinking that way, you know?
Well, and part of my problem here is that I chose the method of doing this plumbing when I wasn't going to orientate the 250s this way.
Yep.
So this is kind of the aftermath of it, which I think it's still going to work. I'm just going to reverse what lines do what. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the resolution here, because when I look at this, so originally these were going to be the drains for the tank, and then I was going to use, I thought a street elbow off of here could go this way. I could kind of bend it back and get in, but with a 2-inch valve in here, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that I'll reverse it and I'll turn this street this way and that one in, and then I'll do 90s here and go down and down with the valves for those drains. And then this, I can bump it out a little bit more so that I can clear the valve here, because I went in between the bracing, but if I go horizontal, it won't fit.
Yeah.
So if I go out a little bit more, I could do a 90 and a valve, and then 90 into the tank. And that's that one. And then the other one, I can go a little bit lower and come underneath, and then 90 up and 90 in. So.
Yeah, I guess the only thing about being in those tight spaces is if it's hard to turn the valve, will you have room to reef on it? You know,
well,
like will you?
These are pretty good valves. So this one here would be sitting in the center on top.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
So that would be in a good spot. And then the other one, I could flip the valve upside down and be somewhere in here.
Yeah.
So there'd be plenty of clearance there for it too.
Right.
So.
Well, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Well, and I got to get this end done. And then I got to get these tanks plumbed, which they're all uniseal. So as soon as I figure out how to do this easily, that'll be easy, because there's 8 2-inch uniseals, and then I got 4 1-inch uniseals, because I need to have a pump in here. I'm going to put a submersible pump in here, I think is the best thing I could do.
I can recommend the Sichi Ultra Zero. That thing is a beast. It pumps the water from the bottom of the 125 storage tank all the way up to the 8-foot ceiling, which we got the extra height in the basement, across the room about 10 feet, and then drops down into the trash can to fill up the ATO. And that's with the Ultra Zero. It's pretty powerful. We were really surprised.
Per hour is it?
I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
Is it a utility pump or?
It's a utility pump.
Yeah. No, I need a full-on return size.
Gotcha.
This will be recirculation between the tanks when I'm doing a water change.
Yep.
And then it'll be pump out and clean out for the tanks. So I'll probably have like a little vinyl hose or something, so I could use it to spray the inside of the tanks down and scrub them before a water change.
Yeah. This has
And
got
then-
793 gallons per hour. I'm assuming that's at 0 head height. That's how they usually do it, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So just shy of 800.
Yeah, it's a little small for this, but I'll have to look at I'll have to look at one of those for some other things maybe.
I'm
'Cause,
I'm completely impressed with it. I got it on sale, and I think I just got it because I knew we'd find a use for it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just have an instinct about things that you're going to do. Originally, we were going to put a different pump in there, and then we just decided to drop this in there mainly because it clears. It operates in 2 millimeters of water. So, it's like pretty much zero. That's why they call it the ultra zero, I guess. So we knew if we had to empty that tank, it has a flat bottom, we could completely empty that tank with this pump, which most pumps you can get down to like half an inch if you're lucky. But this thing, 2 millimeters is what they say. So that was the main reason I got it.
That's always been a nightmare thing.
Yeah, getting that last little bit of water out, shop vac, is usually the only way. And depending on the size of the thing you're emptying, it isn't always just a one-shot thing. You got to stop the vacuum before it overflows. That anyway, it's worth looking into. Yeah. I was impressed by how heavy and solid this thing is. It's got a handle on the top. So there's a bright yellow sort of nylon rope tied to it so we can hoist it out of there without having to pull it by the cord. And we have to swap hoses to do, if we want to get a quantity of RO water, we swap hoses and then drop it down again. But we're going to put another two little fishies barb valve and a T to put another hose off so that we can just use that and not have to keep pulling the pump out of there. But no, I've been completely impressed. It's like 150 Canadian bucks. I think they're about $100 US. So
not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine, whatever's in here is gonna have to pump to the blue handled 1-inch valve over there.
Yeah.
So it's not too far. I don't know I'm not sure what I'm gonna get for it yet. I might just get another Jabo 10,000 DCP or something.
Yeah. They're good pumps too. I mean, I have the DCS 7000s. I have 4 of them from the last setup, and one of them is running the sump system right now. One of them has a cracked impeller. Can't replace it anymore. I can't get the part. But the other 2 are fully serviceable. So we'll see. I mean, who knows what I might do with them. We're going to be putting a water feature outside at the front. And that's one thing we don't have to buy is a pump because I've got pumps.
Yeah, I gotta say I got a Jabo 15,000 DCP for the 400 here.
Yep.
I was pretty surprised given the ugly nature of the plumbing run, just how much water it was able to pump out. Because I could put I could put a little water in this big tank. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. So, just to review this nasty plumbing. So it's got to go up here, angle, over, down, straight. From the straight run, it jogs up, over, and then in. It's a good 20 feet over there.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem might be that the fitting on the pump is going to be too small for the size of your pipes. You're going to lose a lot of the pressure because of the adapter you'll have to put on it to change.
They had an 1.5 inch adapter right on it.
The Jabo, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the Sichi because it's I think it's a 5/8 inch hose that goes on it, and I'm not sure what other adapters came with that. I should look in the box.
So
Yeah. Whoa.
it's that's pretty good for that ugly plumbing run.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, they're not the best pressure pump out there by any means, but
Well, sometimes you just need the water to move. It doesn't have to be under pressure. It just has to move. Like
yeah.
you're basically transferring water, and that's a lot of what we kind of thought about when we were setting up the systems in the basement to move water. If you're just transferring water, it's a whole different ball game.
Oh, and just for that little bit that it was going, it
Yeah.
filled the tank almost a half an inch.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of water volume on it. Now I gotta
Yeah.
move my feet.
For sure. Johnny Martinez says, "Hey Alex G, try plumber's O-ring grease. It works." Yeah, we heard about that too, and I do believe that is, you'll find that's Molly Coat 111.
Yeah, I'll have to look. It's not gonna happen today, that's for sure. At 10 o'clock at night here, I think my wife's gonna actually come downstairs and be like, "What are you pounding on with a hammer at this hour?"
And so, are you going to spend Easter Sunday with your wife and do something like recreational, or?
It's supposed to be a nice day, so we'll probably just go for a walk or maybe a little drive. And
Yeah.
I'm not vaccinated yet, so it kind of limits.
Me neither.
It's supposed to open up fairly soon where I live, so I'm just waiting because she's a medical worker, so she's vaccinated. So
yeah,
it makes it hard when she's like, "Let's go out to eat," and I'm like, "I don't really want to right now."
I don't know when I'll ever feel good about going in a restaurant again, because I mean, even with the vaccination, it's not a ticket to a normal life.
It's gonna take time, but
yeah,
I think it's just gonna be a quiet day, and other than hearing the saw and me drilling holes and stuff, but I'll hopefully I'll have another 200 gallons water ready, so I can I can at least be ready to fill the 400 when it's done, and then once I get the 400 circulating and I get the 250s plumbing done, which shouldn't really be too hard, I'm gonna hook the RO unit directly up to them. I already bought. Where'd you go? I already got my little float valve for it. So I'm just gonna tee off of my water line because I have the float that'll do the pressure switch on the unit. So I'm just gonna put the same thing into these tanks. So
yeah. Well, it'll make one thing. It just makes it easier. We also put a bulkhead in with an emergency going to the laundry sink, just in case the float valve failed. And in our last setup, it actually did happen once, so it was worth doing.
Yeah, I've never had the pressure switch at all. But then again, I don't. I'm pretty paranoid about it because I've overflowed RO enough times when I didn't have float switches or anything, and it used to be just hey, remember to check that in an hour type of thing.
Yeah.
that happens a lot.
Here's a good one for you. The very first time I filled up the ATO container by myself, without my husband there because he's the one that set it up, so he had to show me how to use it. So I decided one morning, it needs filling up, I'm going to fill it up. So the first thing you do is open the valve on the line, then turn on the pump, and the pump goes up and it does its thing. So when it's done, I turned off the pump and I got distracted or whatever, and I did not close the valve. So because the RO container is up on a little platform, it's about 6 inches off the floor, and the trash can overflow hose goes right to the bottom of the trash can, and it's on a piece of styrofoam that's only 2 inches above the floor. It's siphoned. It's siphoned all the way up to the ceiling, across and down from the RO container into the ATO, and it overflowed. And so there's like, but I mean, he walked in and caught it really quickly. So like it wasn't like a horrible mess that we came down to later all the way over to the drain or anything. But yeah, that's it. I couldn't believe it. So now that's the thing I do. I turn the pump off and immediately close that valve so that it can't siphon. Siphons will be the death of me, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I already drilled the siphon break in the 400, and I got one drilled in the 150 already, and I didn't drill one for the 700, but did I? No, I didn't. But like the 700 right now, honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to do an overflow box. I might just keep it that way because it seems to work okay. So
yeah,
I'll just have to do
all that pressure, all the pressure, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, those bulkheads are just it overflows to them perfect.
Yeah, cool.
So,
hey,
my glass.
Hey, good night, Hector. Good night, everyone. Thanks, Cindy, for the stream. Hit like, people. Yes, please. Somebody says, Chris Robinson. Hey, Chris Robinson. Hey, what do you recommend for ALK for an LPS and softy tank?
Well, probably my favorite two parts be Ionic if you can get a hold of it right now.
Yeah, Ionic has had some supply issues, hasn't it, recently? Yeah, I don't think you can ever really go wrong if you stick between 7 and 8. If that's what you mean, the ALK range or the ALK dosing?
Oh, that's what I was thinking it was. It's like,
yeah.
What do you use? Range, I always like 8.3 is a lot of my target.
Yeah.
I get nervous going higher than that sometimes. So.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to lower it than it is to dose up. That's why I like the Tropic Marin. We were talking about that last week. It mixes at around 7, and then I can dose it up to 8, 8.5, which is where I like to keep it.
Yeah,
right now it's 9, and I think it's because I spent so much time messing around getting the lines primed from the doser. I'm dosing C-Chem reef carbonate, which is uber concentrated, and I think I overdosed it. So it's been hovering at around 9.1, which is not horrible, but higher than I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, I got into that range a little bit, and then I always try to let it stay more in like that 8.3, 8.6.
Yeah.
Is what I was always kind of aiming for. And I got to go get my CO2 tank filled for my reactor because, once I get everything in here, I'm sure it's, not going to be too long before I start to have demand.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's actually the last piece of real equipment I need to buy is a CO2 bottle. And there's a fire safety supply place here in town who will sell a filled 10-pound, I think, for $150, and then it's $25 to refill it. So
just make sure if it, like, whatever tank you get, it doesn't have a siphon tube in it.
No siphon tube? No.
Ooh, that would be bad.
Gotcha.
That's how, because then if you put a siphon tube in it, it's trying to draw the liquid CO2 out.
Oh dear, we don't
and not
want
the
that.
gas.
Yeah, we don't want that.
The liquid will stay at the bottom, so the siphon tube, when you open the valve, will suck the liquid out and use the expansion of the gas to push the liquid in. So just make sure, because it's fire safety, you just want to make sure of that.
That's good to know. See, I wouldn't have known to think about that.
Yeah, that won't work well on a regulator.
No.
Hate to see what it do to it.
Well, I mean, it's just a needle wheel, so at least it's not a carbon doser. And here's me all paranoid about compressed gas in a cylinder in my house around large volumes of water.
Yeah, I never really got that worried about it. Just, I mean, always a good thing with the cylinder, no matter what size it is, because I mean, the CO2 is usually, I mean, mine was at like between 900 and 1,000 psi when I got it. It's just make sure the tank, you know, like I used a couple big zip ties to a board so that it couldn't tip over.
Yeah.
That, you know, that's the danger, is that it falls over, it breaks the valve stem, and then you got a tank flopping around everywhere.
Yeah. No, my husband's going to build a shelf and put a bracket on the stud so that the bottle's actually held down, like held to the wood by a bracket, so it can't tip over. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So, Alex, what do you do for fun in your leisure time?
This
Just
I just got my bike out. My pedal, like I like cycling as a fun
Yep.
hobby, so I just started. I'll probably go out tomorrow and try to do 10 or 15 miles. So
Right. Yeah, I think cycling's good for you because of the fresh air. You know, fresh air, and it's the kind of exercise you can sort of control based on how winded you want to get, how much effort you want to put in, or if you need to take a bit of a break, you can. Treadmills are so hard for that, and they're indoors, and I can't run outdoors because of knees, and I can't pace myself. I got to run. I've never been good at running.
I tried the treadmill a couple years ago, and I had so many knee problems, like just pains. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm going back to my bike where there's no impact.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Johnny, good night. Thanks for coming by. It's
All right,
always
Johnny.
nice to see you, and take care of yourself. I hope things go well for you.
Yeah, most of the time it's working on this right now, but I do enjoy my cycling, and
Yep.
like I'm a big aviation buff,
Yeah.
so I almost was gonna go and get my pilot's license, but then I just made the decision of I'm just gonna stick to reefkeeping because I could never afford to do both.
Cessna, big fish tank. Pretty much.
Wife's anxiety of husband flying a plane, that also had a factor in it. So
Yeah. Well, I worked for a guy who became a good friend of ours, who has passed away now, sadly, but he was an adventurer, and he was a pilot. He taught aviation or whatever, and he actually crashed gliders on more than one occasion, once in the Fraser River in BC, and survived. And yeah, he was quite the guy.
yeah, it's a pretty rare thing. It's never a fun thought to be in that situation.
Nope. Nope, but he knew what he was doing, and lived to tell about it. Yeah, I guess it's probably, oh boy, we've been going for 3 hours again. Time does fly.
No batteries.
What?
Oh, I got some more humidistats for the house.
Oh, yeah.
I decided I needed a couple more of them at least, because, well, one of my old ones, it didn't survive being close to the automatic fish feeder, and the fish killed it by splashing it with salt water a lot.
I never thought about fish being so active near an auto feeder. I've debated getting an auto feeder. I do want to get some Anthias, and apparently they really, really go for the small pellets. Whose live stream was I watching where they were talking about that the other day? I'm really getting bad remembering who talks about all this stuff. And that's the best way, apparently, to maintain good health in Anthias is to use an auto fish feeder, because they soon learn the routine, and they'll stay much healthier if they're fed regularly. So.
And the ones I like are these little Eheim auto feeders.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure I have one of those that came with a project that I bought, like the 20-gallon sump, but I don't know if it works. I should find it.
They're really easy to program, and it rotates the, I got it closed right now, but it just rotates it, and you open the little slot for pellets.
Yeah.
You could have it go once, twice.
Mm-hmm.
And what I ended up doing, because I had them on the side of the tank, like they were normally supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just not a good thing because they were splashing so much. So I suspended them in my canopy.
Oh.
So then it was dropping the pellets from a higher angle.
Yeah.
And they couldn't splash the feeder itself or anything around it.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, they know the time, because I used to have it feed pellets twice a day in the tanks. So that way, like for a while there, I wasn't feeding like big frozen food meals every day because it hit them with pellets a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the big fish, I was only doing every other day on the big foods, and everyone was fat and happy. So I never.
Nice.
I wanted to get Anthias, so that's what I was going to do, is set up another 1 or 2 of those auto feeders to get some even smaller pellets.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently the like 0.5 millimeter pellets are the ones that they really go nuts for. I guess it'd be almost like phytoplankton in the water or zooplankton, that size. Yeah.
Well, that's something I'm hoping that I could, I'll get a bit of in here, is because of the water volume of the filtration system, is I'm hoping that I can get a little bit more natural zooplankton going in here. And then, I don't know, I've wanted to do it in the last system and I never did it, but I really want to build an automatic, like a phytoplankton reactor with copepod reactors hanging off of it.
Yeah.
It takes water from the system, it zaps it in a UV sterilizer and a filter, drips that water into a phytoplankton feed, which in turn drips back into the tank and other copepod cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And then just, obviously it's not going to last forever. So have some reserve stuff so where you could break it down once a month. And at least with the phytoplankton reactor, the copepods, you could probably keep them going a little longer.
Yeah. Well, once they get into the tank and start, growing, then the whole thing is the food supply becomes food for them. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, this is good. Well, thanks, Ryan, for hanging in right to the end. You got stamina, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, I'm glad you could come.
Yeah, it's what time is it? It's 4:15 in the morning.
Oh, jeepers. So you go to bed and add 8 hours and set your alarm for noon? That's what I do.
Well,
doesn't work every day.
No.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. And thanks, everybody in the chat who stuck around all this time. There's still 22 people. Really appreciate the time you spend on Saturday nights. I always enjoy it. And great to see everybody.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us.
Okay. Yep. Take care. Have a good week. Stay safe, everybody. And we'll see you on the next one.